Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 487.
Perfect number to start an entirely different time.
You know how I love those nice round even numbers. Well, we're not doing that today. So welcome in 487. When we started last year, Happy New Year, everyone. When we started last year, I think the number was 27, something like that. All I know is I think we did 50 out of 52 possible weeks last year.
How did we miss two?
I think
those might have been like drop zone ones where you were.
I was
gone
traveling or something happened,
like
and nonetheless, we got about 50 in last year, on our way to 500, which will come in just a few months. And welcome in. And for the first time, we're intentionally starting at 8 p.m., which was kind of a decision or a thought that we brought up last week and said, hey, maybe people will come in earlier. It seems like that's one of the comments we get most commonly is that, oh, we're just so late at night for live listeners. Yeah. And so we push things up an hour, and one group that doesn't help is our first guests that we're going to welcome in tonight because they're coming all the way from Norway. We have Lykke Lorentzen along with Bradley Williams. Good evening, guys.
Hey.
Or good morning, depending on
Good
3
night.
a.m. That's like right in the middle. That could be a really good night or a really early morning.
Yeah.
Well, Happy New Year. Thank you guys for joining us and being our first guest here of 2024. And if we get right into it, today we saw an announcement. Sponsorships. Yes, I was going to say sponsorships galore. But Lykke, let's start with you. Tell us what's going on.
Oh. Well, I have new sponsors.
Cool. Bradley, your turn.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Bradley.
Yes, you have new sponsors. A few weeks ago, you had made an announcement that you were leaving Prodigy and that you'd have a new announcement. That dropped on your YouTube channel today. So elaborate. What does this new sponsorship look like for you? And who are these incredible new sponsors?
Yeah, it's I signed a 4-year contract with ThoughtSpace. So that's basically not my entire career, but I wanted to find a sponsor that I could be with for the rest of my career. So I partner up with ThoughtSpace. I've known Aaron from ThoughtSpace a while. I've been working with them for a few years, and I know their discs, and I really like their discs. I love their stamps. They have different stamps for every plastic and mold, which is, to me, it's pretty unique and really cool. So we partner up for 4 years, and I also signed a contract with Infinite for 2024.
Awesome. So congratulations. Immediately, some people would then wonder, how has this come about for, like, I think of Maria Oliva, ThoughtSpace along with Infinite, and I think of a few of our other players that I feel like have kind of gone this route. Like, how does that connection, how does that tie? Is it because ThoughtSpace and Infinite are already so tight as well? Like, how does this collaboration all come together?
Yeah, they're really tight. So I think, or I know that they work really good together, and since they're both kind of open bag, it just makes sense.
How many different molds? Well, if it's open bag, maybe that answers everything, that you can throw whatever you want. But are there any requirements or minimums in which you have to throw of any given brand, whether it's Infinite branded discs or ThoughtSpace branded discs? Like, break down, how does that work for you?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have to throw a minimum of molds from each company. I have more with ThoughtSpace than Infinite. So I'm thinking it's gonna be an open bag, it's gonna be a mixed bag, but it's not gonna be a lot of other molds than ThoughtSpace and Infinite.
Okay.
You talked, or you've talked online, and I know you talked with Terry behind the scenes about your sports visa. And was a new sponsor, is that a big part of this? Does the new sponsor help with the sports visa? How exactly does all that work from your side?
Yeah, it's I had to have a sponsor to get the visa. So it's like I thought space, it's the petitioner.
Mm.
So they kind of apply for me to come to the States. Even though I did the visa and all the work, he's the one signing it. He's the one kind of just sending it in and doing all that stuff. So it is really important to have a sponsor, and that was super crucial for me. I mean, we kind of decided that I was going to get a visa. That was like, I guess, like this summer. And then I kind of was thinking if I wanted to switch sponsors or not. So it's been months of stress and just trying to figure out how to do this because it is a lot of work and it is required to have a sponsor. So it did really play a huge part in this process.
And so, what's the word? Have you found anything out? Do you know anything? Anything you can share with us at this point? Are you still kind of waiting?
Yeah, so we send it in. We did send it in December, and we paid for like an expedited type thing. And but we did get it back because it was something wrong with the checks we added. So we basically just have to switch out the checks and send it back. So we're 3 weeks behind from like where we actually sent it in because we got it back. But that means there's no words or anything. We don't know if it's going to be approved. We don't know if it's going to get denied. But we're going to send it in now, and I they have to give a reply within 15 days.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's like 3 weeks.
Yeah, so that's relatively quick. That was going to be my next question is what is kind of the expected turnaround? So the fact that they're saying 15 days or probably 15 business days is actually pretty quick. And you can share, I guess, whatever you can share, but is that a lot of extra pressure on a sponsor? And is that maybe something that Prodigy wasn't willing to do, or just did you know you wanted to move on regardless? But I think of, I'm guessing Aaron and ThoughtSpace, to some degree, they're vouching for you. I mean, they have to be taking on some form of accountability in doing as much. Is that a fair statement? I mean, are they putting their neck out for you and vouching for you?
Well, it's not really vouching for me in the same way it would be if you got married to someone. Like if you're married, they're like actually vouching for you in the way they're like, I'm gonna take care of this person.
Okay.
Like if she can't take care of herself, then I'm gonna take care of her. But this is kind of more of a, we're bringing her, she's gonna work for us.
Okay.
Like we bring her over. But on the when you mentioned Prodigy, it it was kind of a weird thing since the contract with the sponsor have to be a part of it, and it needs to be a longer one. It can't just be like a year, because you have to prove in a way that you're going to be in the States and play. So that means I kind of have to, I had to think who I wanted to be partnered with for like the next 5 years. So it was a weird thing where I could have been with Prodigy next year maybe, but then I didn't want to for the next 5 years. So I had to kind of make the decision, you might say a bit earlier than I would necessarily do.
Yeah, I mean, what an interesting thought process about, we'll just say, the commitment level of, you're committing to hopefully obtaining, I think it's a 5-year visa. And then if you have a company that is, co-signing on that, so to speak, like you said, you're committing to both at that point, which is more than what we're used to worrying about here in the States, as most contracts are just 1 or 2 years. So
we kind of saw the same thing with Thomas Gilbert.
And that was my next question.
Who went with a 4-year agreement and, to match the sports visa and whatnot. So this is a little bit of a tried trail, so to speak.
Well,
Yeah.
Of course, we wish you the best of luck. Dare I have to ask, what if they were to come back and say, hey, we're not going to grant you this visa, what does that still mean for your playing? How much can you still visit? Like, what does that exactly mean for your playing here in the States?
I think it basically means I can't play at all in the States.
Like 0 trips here? Like never?
Yeah. So I'm not like 100% sure, but I know for sure that right now they're not gonna allow me in on a normal like tourist visa. Because I've been honest saying I'm playing, and they've already questioned me at the border. So it's I mean, in the future, I'm probably gonna be able to at some tournaments, but I am not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna have the courage to try and get in for a while.
I mean,
If I don't get the visa.
the silver lining, so to speak, on this is if something like that, heaven forbid, were to happen, the Europe has just announced a relatively big tour that I think would maybe work out for you that way. I mean, we've got a couple of elite and then a bunch of silver events that are an actual European tour now this year. I know we've had kind of 2 smaller ones in the past, or 2 of them in the past. I don't want to call them smaller, but we've kind of have a combined tour. So I suppose that could always be an unfortunate fallback plan. Not that we want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I'm not gonna quit playing. I'm definitely gonna play in Europe. So hopefully I
would
can
you have
play
any of those
both.
challenges? I was just going to say, would you have any challenges? Again, heaven forbid you don't get the sports visa. Are there any questions or challenges about full-time touring all around Europe and playing? Would you have any border challenges, so to speak?
No,
Okay.
nope.
Okay.
That would not be a problem.
So is there any chance after Worlds you took like half your frisbees out and then you just tried to bring it like all singles or US dollars back into Norway? Is that why they stopped you and said, hey, we think we know that you're doing some work here?
No,
You brought back a whole bunch of, just a whole bin full of money.
Worlds.
Okay. I was gonna say, I mean, they might tip things off a little bit.
A World's trophy that you walked like,
yeah,
hey,
exactly.
I don't know what you're talking
And a bag
about.
full of money.
I
No,
got
they give me this
seventh
for
place.
touring. For
Look.
just, I Grand Canyon the best. This is how I won this trophy. All right, so you raised your own red flags by becoming very much an international superstar and player, which is awesome. So we wish you the best of luck with how all of that will go down. Is there any other? I'll bring Bradley into this as well. Assuming you get approved, what does it look like for one or both of you to travel back? What's kind of the plan? Bradley, are you on vacation, just enjoying wintertime? Are you ready to like what's the plan here?
Just the Texas boy vacationing in Norway in the middle of winter.
In the middle of winter.
Yeah, what's the
I mean, you
plan?
couldn't even get out of your door this morning. There was so much snow. And I know you're not used to that, Bradley.
That's true. I'm not. It's basically summer in Texas right now. Sweating in t-shirt and shorts. This Christmas, this like New Year's time of year is like a big Norwegian tradition, especially for her family. So me being here kind of makes sense in that regard. Is connect with those people that they take the holidays pretty seriously, and they're super invested when it comes to these traditions. So it would be just it would be unfortunate to not be here for that, which works out conveniently well with my family because we as a family do not celebrate Christmas. We do Thanksgiving, which as an American, it's like, well, we're the only people doing Thanksgiving, so yeah, it works out pretty well. I see my family during Thanksgiving, and then I can elect to come here and hang out with her family in the winter. And as an avid video game player and coffee drinker, I have no problem not opening the door to go outside.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's not really that big of a problem. There is a problem, though. I have like a chronic disease. I have... it's called course envy. And if I ever open up Instagram and I see anyone playing disc golf anywhere, I get so upset. I'm like, I go mad in the head. Like, I have to get out and play. Like, it's bizarre. I am serious. So I'm starting to feel course envy. I mean,
You can't be on Instagram.
Yeah, I can't. I literally cannot be on social
That's one
media.
answer.
I get so upset.
Yep.
Most people get upset like when they open up social media, like politics or religion or something. Not Bradley. He gets upset when he sees, Ella
like,
Hansen
damn it!
throwing.
So he's out at Harry Myers Park playing in Texas. What the hell?
How much
What
winter?
the hell, man?
How much
He's like
winter golf?
commenting. He's like, oh my god, no.
How much winter golf have you done over there, Bradley? I've seen a little bit on your social of you out there throwing. How many actual rounds have you played there?
I have played. I don't think I've even gone to a tee pad. I did like trudge out into the snow and launch a disc, if you could call it that.
Well, that was more like YouTube envy because I was filming for my announcement video, and then he's like, I filmed you, now I want to do something too.
That's true. That is true. That is true. I was the film crew and production staff of your video, and I couldn't help myself. I had to go out and throw a disc. Like,
Yeah.
I needed to do it.
I like how you answered like not his question. About when
Well, no,
you're gonna come
I think the answer was 0. He hasn't played any full rounds.
Well,
I think I gathered that.
and when do you plan to come back? I guess that was ultimately my original question. When do one or
Ultimately.
both of you plan to come back?
Well, we were trying to talk about that, but we didn't do it yesterday. It was like, how much time do you need to become a pro again? Like, I truly believe that you need to take, if you play sports for a living, you need to cross train or sort of take a break at some point and do something else physically with your body that's in a different like rotation or format than you're used to. So being here is a part of that. Like, we go to the gym, we work out just about every day, and if we can't make it to the gym, we do at a home workout. So like, taking a break is definitely important. It's like, how long do I need to get back into being a professional? Is it 2 weeks of playing straight? Is it 3? We're sort of trying to figure that out because I would love to be in Florida as soon as possible. Not only just to take care of my course envy and play courses that I've never seen, but also to, basically start practicing.
So, Bradley, can I show you something real quick? I think you can see this. This is the Rocky IV montage of, I believe if Sylvester Stallone can do it, I
Is this
think
Russia though? Or is
I
this
think
Norway?
well, I mean,
One and the
look
same.
at all the snow.
Okay.
You talk about cross training. See, you've got some of the Americans
my God.
here. It's just reverse the two, and you're set.
Yeah. I mean, this was me yesterday, last night, when I had to go rescue a car from the snow.
Yep.
I think I did an hour of shovel cross training.
It was an hour, and it's still not like
Out.
we still can't get out. Actually,
Well,
Again, now, to be fair, Bradley, you're talking to a couple of guys who grew up in Wisconsin. Winters and weather of that nature was secondhand to us, growing up. Not quite as much snow
I was going to
as
say
Norway.
not quite that. That's
But-
more Buffalo level snow. We're used to seeing like, oh look, we're going to get 10 to 12 inches today, and
Yeah.
that's a great snowfall. It looks like that's kind of that's called Wednesday.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, taking it all in.
Yeah, literally. I think I think on Wednesday they sent us a text and they were like, expect a meter of snow, possibly work from home.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Advice to please do not use your car and please work at home.
All right. Well, and then not a whole lot of daylight as well, right? Were you down to like 6 or so hours of daylight, roughly? If even that.
It's not even daylight. We haven't seen sun. It's funny because the day we did our filming for my announcement, I told Bradley, I'm like, okay, in 30 minutes, we're gonna have 30 minutes of sun, and this is gonna be the last sun you'll see in a week. And he's like, what do you mean? I don't get it. Like, what I'm saying is what I mean. And then we're like filming, and then the sun comes up. He's like, oh, it's so nice. And then it's like, it's gone. And we filmed exactly when the sun was there. And after that, it's been so dark.
Dude,
that
Gandalf came over the mountains. The sun came out. I was like, what is that light? It was everywhere. And then I haven't seen it in like many hours.
So no light at all since
okay.
then.
So before we move on to Bradley and your promotion and your sponsorship, real quick, with a little crossover of what you guys are just talking about now, what's the plan for social media, for YouTube, combined page, separate pages, or channels? Like what's in the works here? Because I've seen a few announcements and I'm excited for it, but I want let's get the word out to everybody what we should expect here for YouTube and whatnot here in 2024.
First we kind of wanted a combined like collab YouTube, so I kind of started that, but then it kind of became my YouTube, so I changed it. So now it's just mine because he already has a YouTube channel.
Okay.
And we were like, well, why combine it? Why not have 2 channels, and then we'll get hopefully double the amount of viewers because we have 2 channels, and then we can do like we can do collabs, right? We have like front 9, back 9. We have like whatever, right? So right now we have our own channels, and we're both gonna do YouTube this season. So that's what's up.
Yeah, we're gonna learn how to vlog and talk nonstop for 22 minutes while filming our life.
It's not going to be a problem.
Well, Lykke, you seemed a little hesitant. You admitted in one of your earlier videos that it felt a little weird and that you would have to maybe get more comfortable. Are you saying you're already there?
I said for you.
It's going to be hard for you.
It is hard. It is hard for me. And I'm getting better, but it's just weird. It's the combo of yourself being filmed, like looking at yourself. That's weird.
And your voice.
And my voice gets weird. And
then coming up with
ideas. I have to speak English.
And then English. Gosh, English.
The English.
The subtitles are going to be tough to understand.
Yeah. So, yeah, my goal is to like have the subtitles all correct. I'm like speaking super clear.
With lots of enunciation and mouth movement. Okay.
Just speak louder. I think that's what Americans do when just
that's
hello.
So we were talking about that. We were seriously talking.
We're practicing my English, and I've been reading a book.
Yeah, she's been reading like a American book.
And it's so complicated, and I stop in the middle of a word, and he doesn't even know what the word is. I'm like, but I don't know, and we have to like figure out how to pronounce it. But when I speak more clear, my accent is worse in a way. But if I speak loud and quick, you can kind of like the accent is better in a way.
It sounds less Norwegian. You sound less foreign. You sound more American when you speak. Yeah. If that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. All right, Bradley. Only because I think it's part of the AirPod positioning. Maybe if you look at her a little, or maybe lean in a little closer. You guys get it. Just sometimes when you're talking, you go in and out a little bit with your volume.
I'm sorry, we didn't mean to make him closer.
So now, so we'll try that. Oh yeah, there you go. That's what we need.
It's not this kind of podcast.
That's for our after show. All right, we
Terry said it is whatever it goes.
Yeah,
that's true.
That is true. It's new time, new rules. Anything goes.
Anything goes. So
well, Bradley, let's talk about your promotion. You were moved from. There was an announcement today that you were moved from Innova Champion team up to the Innova Star team. We saw last year you had done an interview that at one point I forget the event, that you laid up for first place to take an easy second. Was that USDGC even?
Blue Mountain.
Oh, Blue Mountain. Because, yeah, it was Blue Mountain, I believe. Because you wanted the guaranteed money. Because you said yourself, that's like, right. It's hard to tour out here when you're maybe not on the top team getting the tour stamps. Is this type of promotion, is that going to change your mentality to golf? Is that something you're still going to look at as far as cash flow versus what? Or or does this make you more comfortable now that you're like, no holds barred, Bradley?
No, absolutely not. There's still not enough revenue that's just handed out that can float decisions. It's and I don't know how it's supposed to work out. Like, are you supposed to eat water, beans, and sleep literally in a car, spending no overhead cost, and then you just risk it all until someone goes, "Holy crap, that was heroic! Let's rescue you from the slums, and you're a slumdog millionaire," or whatever. I've toured a lot. I've been playing disc golf since 2008. I've definitely had to call and be like, "Hey, is anyone in the area hosting? Is that a possibility? Like, can I do a clinic in exchange for this?" Just so when you cash out for $575 and you take away the production cost, you're like, "Oh, I walked away with 125 profit because I slept on a floor," and that just keeps stacking up. I've lived a rough lifestyle on the tour, and like the last few seasons, I've been willing to up my overhead costs. So, we're buying better food, we're paying for Airbnb lodging, but now my weekly cost to play a Pro Tour event is much closer to $1,000. Like, that's my investment. And two things have happened. One, my quality of life is better. And two, I think because I am putting like a higher projected cost to play, I personally somehow earn more money. It's a weird thing. Maybe there's a psychology trick to it. Maybe if you put the carrot in front of the stick, I don't even know if that's the carrot's in front of the stick. It's like, maybe if you spend more, you make more. Like, it's super weird. I don't know really how that worked out, but it did. It fits that expression well. When it comes to sponsorships, though, I pretty much get enough financial support to cover my basic operation costs from Innova. So no, it doesn't necessarily mean that I can just run everything, because money still is important to look at. But yeah, Innova is the lion's share of benefactor when it comes to touring. I know that I can tour, and at least, it's up to me to make profit.
Which is good to hear. And I think it's great to even, share some of those real world situations that, a lot of people are starting to think about the glitz and glamour of touring and how amazing it can be. And I think everyone would agree it can be, but it's not always. First of all, it hasn't always been that way. And second of all, it's still not that way for everybody
for most.
Yet. Yeah, for most. And so, knowing that you've been there in that grind and seen and continue to work your way up constantly. What are some of your other sponsors or other needs that you're excited to have taken care of, or other people that continue to help you? What are some of the other ones, and maybe where's there a void, if any, that you would love more help with?
I think partnering with like a clothing apparel would be good. Shoes are expensive. Like there's the pair of shoes that we found that kind of work on turf and concrete, and that's kind of the thing, right? Is like you have to have a turf shoe now and a concrete shoe, because every weekend we have a different compound. So a shoe sponsor would be nice. I think spend like $160 per pair of shoes, and they playing every day, like out and out, like several hours every day. The shoes burn out. I want to say like every 2 months.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like $160 every 2 months at least. It's just like things add up. Like, yeah, clothing, apparel, shoe sponsorship, would definitely be cute for me, at least. That way, I can have a fresh pair of kicks more often, whatever. Yeah, it's just stuff like that. It's like really it's like trickle stuff. Like if I could just get a little bit more in different directions at the end of the season, you're looking at saving possibly $10,000 extra dollars. And that could mean, well, I have $10,000 to invest. I have $10,000 to do elective surgery or whatever. I can get pec implants. It would be nice to just at the end of the seasons have just more money to reinvest in yourself. Like, what if you needed some kind of dental thing, but you've been putting it off? As a touring player, like you have to cover your bases, but you also there's other life costs. Like if you want to get LASIK surgery for your eyes, I don't want to wear glasses every day. It sucks. I hate having to clean them. Just more money, more opportunity, more work. Like, where is it?
So, a real quick question. Question about your contract. You said Innova covers the lion's share of the touring costs. Now, being on the star team, I'm assuming you're going to get a tour disc, whatever that may be. If you're willing to share what that is, if you know what that is, even feel free. Is that above and beyond those sales? Does that go to help additionally for you then? Like every, I don't know, I'm sure it's different for every player, but whether you get $2 per disc or $8 or whatever that number is that above and beyond? Does that help additionally when you sell 1,000 or 5 or 10,000 tour discs?
I've always been curious, like what, like are there 2 or 3? What are you smiling for? Are there like?
I'm laughing for what you're gonna say.
Yeah, me too. Actually,
have you guys had these conversations privately? So she knows what the answer is going to be.
No, I don't think she does.
No, I don't know.
I don't even know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, but I know you better than.
I could say probably one of 20 things. Whatever angle I want to drive the bus down. Yeah, I think you get on the star team. Maybe you have more access to the creative team. Maybe you have more access to premium plastics. Maybe you have more access to. Just you probably just have more access when you're on the middling team. It's more of like, okay, this you're going to promote this disc, and you can't say whatever you want. You have to kind of like stay in your lane. Star team, I'm assuming you get a little bit more creative, leeway. You get a little bit more help with people inside the company, the creative team, and you have access to more polymers and blends. So you probably could ask for something pretty unique, and then they would see if it's in their wheelhouse to put it in production. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Does that answer the question? I think it should help. Okay. I don't know. Do people buy more discs in 2023? It seemed like the economy, at least for like the money people had per month to spend frivolously, was a little lower on average. So like. I mean,
it does help when people buy your disc.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
If they buy more, you get more money, and that does affect what you get.
Yeah, it should affect the bottom line if you sell more units.
You've been with Innova a long time, so you've thrown probably a majority of what they have to offer at some point, whether you're testing it out or not. Do you have like an ideal blend and disc that if you could make up any blend and plastic and mold that you would take? I mean, whether it's already out there or whether it's something you've just kind of like, man, I'd really would have loved a TL champion blend rock or something crazy. Like what's your kind of ideal thing?
Well, like just recently, they started to mix a different type of Star Halo blend that was it's super grippy. It even has like a weird sound when your thumb comes off it. It makes like a squeegee, like you're rubbing your fingers on like a really clean plate. There's like no grease or nothing. It's just like this. Anyway, they've made this new plastic that's been really good, and that's been a really nice for like your domey driver type discs. And then to go back, I wish we made something that's like it felt like more dense and solid, sort of like how the 11 time plastic used to feel. I would love to have a few molds like run in like just a plastic that we're not. I can't say yeah for sure we have that in our lineup. That would be really cool to see.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, what you've had in the past in terms of your molds, and then I look over at you, Lykke. Does part of your contract involve a signature disc or a tour support disc or fundraisers? What has that conversation been like so far for you?
Yeah, I'll have some signature discs with Thought Space, and I'll also have one with Infinite. So I'm gonna have more signature discs than you.
I knew that was coming.
So,
Did you? You set that one up, Terry? How nice.
I mean,
thanks for that one.
Yeah, slam dunk. Smaller companies rule.
what are you liking so far specifically in terms of what you've been playing? Obviously, lots of new plastic, lots of things to try out. What are you? I don't need a full in the bag. I know that'll be exclusive to your YouTube channel and all, but where are you kind of leaning with some of the discs that you're leaning into so far?
Well, to be honest, I haven't really tried all the discs, especially with
Mhm.
Infinite. I have tried some, but I have a huge box waiting for me at Bradley's house.
Okay.
And it's not really easy to test out here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too cold. But for Thought Space, I've tested their discs since they started coming out. So I already know a bunch of their discs and know which one I like. So for Thought Space, it's definitely a lot of discs I like. Pathfinder is probably one of my favorites, and Mantra, Votum. I mean, it's those are probably the ones I think right now, but I have evolved in the last couple of years. So it's like it is different when if you threw a disc 3 years ago and then you test some discs now, you're like, oh, well, this flies different now. So I definitely have to try them all out when I get to the States and see which one is going to be like for sure my signature discs and for sure going to be in my bag.
I feel like a lot of players, when they go to a new sponsor like you are this year, will say, "Hey, I've been reinvigorated. I'm excited. I'm going to work harder this off season than ever before because I have to learn new plastics, new flight lines, new options, and really get things dialed in. You're not just going to the bag that you put, maybe in the closet in October or November." Do you have some of that anticipation, some of that excitement about, or does it maybe feel overwhelming that you have so many options and discs to choose from?
I think it's like a combo. I don't think I'll have a problem throwing new discs. But it is going to be a lot. Trying to just figure out which one is best for me and build a whole new bag. And especially because I'm not gonna be able to have a lot of time. If I was there right now, it wouldn't be a problem, but I don't even know if I'll make the first event. And let alone if I have time to figure out what's going to be in my bag. I'm like showing up with like 2 discs. I'm like, this is what I have.
I've seen
4 months.
Yeah.
some of the
No,
best
you got-
rec players
you
I've ever
right,
played
I
against
guess.
show up with 2 discs and beat you on the course at league. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
What will be right now? What do you think will be the toughest, or maybe the favorite disc of yours that you're, gonna have the hardest time letting go of? Maybe your favorite disc or driver or whatever it is that was in your bag from Prodigy. What do you think is going to be like just the toughest to replace or to duplicate?
The color pink, right?
Nah. Well, you think that's a problem. It's never been a problem to me. He's like super against me throwing pink. Like way more than you would think.
Really? Because your whole bag is
maybe-
all pink discs, right?
It is all pink, and he's like, well, what if this blue one is just slightly better, and you're missing the opportunity of having a better disc? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Slightly better. Come on.
Yeah, slightly better.
20%. That's a you threw 20% further. That's huge.
It's huge.
It
That
is.
huge. But I'm not. I think this is a topic for another day. If it's 20% better or just slightly better, but
Blue discs are better.
but to answer your question, there is a couple of molds I will kind of for now keep, which is for sure PA3. So I'm gonna putt with my putters.
Okay.
And that's gonna be like a for now thing, and maybe we'll make a new putter, maybe not. We'll see. But that's gonna stay in the bag, and then I think for my like super long kind of flippy discs, I don't know if I have one, but I'm pretty sure I'll find one. But I just think that, or I know that with Thought Space, I have my fairways covered, and I have my kind of overstable driver covered. But for those kind of more flippy, like super long shots, like tailwind shots, maybe sidearm flip up shots, I would have to try and find a disc that works for that, because I did have a few really good discs at the end of the season. Yeah.
I guess I didn't even think about it that way. I mean, I know you obviously have a requirement for both Thought Space and Infinite Disc, but I never even thought about if you have a favorite driver, you don't maybe even have to replace it.
yeah, if there's something that you just right now,
Yeah.
while you learn new plastic, you can keep duplicates in your bag. So,
Yeah.
you can go walk up to a tee for a
Yeah.
practice round, throw something you're used to, and then be like, oh, how does this Maya throw? And throw that. So,
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You guys didn't ask for any tips and in this category.
no one usually does.
But I think you two should be doing a weekly podcast as well. And I'm pretty sure
Oh,
everybody would jump on board and would watch that. So if you're
Well,
looking for another content idea.
it's gonna be we're gonna start a fight every time.
Exactly. That's why people will watch.
We can call it the makeup. Just at the end of
But
every
everyone's
episode.
gonna think we're breaking up. Everyone's like, "Oh, they're not gonna laugh."
Is this the
They're fighting
week?
Every week,
That's right. And
just
just
the rest of the
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
we'll have our breakup on the podcast,
Yeah.
and then we get back together
Every
on the
weekend.
next.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you
4 p.m. Central.
just a cliffhanger every
Have to
episode.
break up early.
maybe that's the title of the podcast. Are we gonna break up? Just every week.
Are we
It's-
gonna break up this week?
Here's what he said to me in the practice round.
Yeah.
Oh
We're
my
gonna
gosh.
talk about. She has like the intro of
the
like the bullet
practice
points.
rounds. They're the worst.
We're gonna go over what he said to me in the practice
I
round.
think we do break up every practice round. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I suck. So he's like, you sucks. Like, how are you playing disc golf? Go home. I don't want to watch you. You get it together, or I'm leaving.
You go behind me.
Yeah,
Don't throw until I'm at least 2 holes ahead.
yeah. Then if you get better, then you can catch me.
You can catch me. Yeah. If you start throwing better.
No wonder I'm so good now. Huh?
It's that tough, tough
really
love.
that's motivation? Like,
Yeah.
oh no, you're fine up there, buddy. I'm good back here.
No, I don't think it's motivation. Actually, it's not. I think she gets her fuel a different way.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
That's
it.
why we break up. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I don't know. Maybe your blood pressure's up or something, or your heart rate. I know you guys are trying to get back to sleep, but before we let you go, is there anything else either of you or both of you want to share with the world as we head into 2024 after all this exciting news?
Oh my God, I hate that question. It's just so open.
Yeah.
But it's your time to say, like,
I'm sorry, Terry.
No, that's fine. I'm
I'm
trying to think of another way to reword that.
I would like to thank my sponsors, Innova, Champion Discs, Squatch Bags, all the moms and dads out there who root for me.
Oh,
Thank you so much for following me this year on tour.
especially the moms and dads.
Yes. The ones with money, thank you.
The ones with money. They don't have money. They have kids. The single 35-year-old.
Oh, that's true.
Those have
Yeah,
money.
the ones who slide into the DMs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're gonna have a tour series disc. Just point them there. Just when they slide into your DMs and be like, "Well, what would really butter me up maybe is a box of Bradley Williams XYZ."
Yeah. Sounds like a good idea.
Have you got the new B
Yeah.
Willie ball cap?
Yeah. We'll add that to our podcast.
Merch?
Yeah. Podcast merch. You guys need to get on it.
Yeah. That's,
Okay, so here let's end on this note. I have not called you lucky. I've not bought into that. In just absolute like Western US, like just lucky, just straight up lucky. Can you?
Because you think it's lazy.
Can you? No. What I want to know is,
does.
can you definitively share with the world your official pronunciation, and regardless of nickname, but your official pronunciation, if somebody were to correctly state your name, how is that pronounced? So that we all have it, so at least we know what it is.
You gonna drag me down this?
No, I just wish you could say it once and then I can say it, so they know that you don't know how to say my name.
It's Lee K. Lou K.
No,
Lee K. Lou K.
say it.
Anna Lykke.
We practice.
Lykke. Lykke.
Oh,
Lykke. Lykke. It's tough. It's a tough one. Lucky. Oh shit! I said Lykke.
I say Luke.
Well, because you guys say it with a U.
Okay.
It's more like an E.
Yeah. So it's Lee.
And it's gonna be in the front of your mouth.
Lykke.
Yeah, Lykke.
It's like Lykke.
And then we're kind of like a Russian type language, so we're more like harsh, and you're like Lykke.
Yeah,
You're like
we're
nice.
Sweet. We're like Lykke, baby.
And how
Sugar
we would
muffin.
say is,
And then they're like, "Shut up! Get over here and shovel the
Lykke.
yard."
If you're mad, Lykke. That's
Yeah.
how you say it. Lykke.
Lykke? Lykke?
Yeah, Lykke. Lykke.
Lykke.
Lykke. I want to get this right. I genuinely
You're
want to
never
be.
gonna.
I want to be as right as I can be. Lykke.
Yeah. So it's just so weird because
Lykke.
it is right,
But it's wrong.
It's just so wrong. It's I think it's the accent, and I think it's just the softness about it.
Well,
That might be.
Harry, crank it up, bro.
It truly sounds like it's the K portion of it. It's the transition from the K. Like I don't think we can
Yeah.
say it one more time
Your
for
mouth
us.
has to be ready to go.
Well, it's like it takes Bradley 10 minutes for his mouth to not be like American
Sure.
and be like, try to say Norwegian words, and then it takes so long for you to kind of figure out how to say it because we talk differently, and it's also the why. It's like
you go, then Terry goes, and then you go, then Terry goes. Say it,
Lykke.
Terry. Say it.
Lykke.
No, it's almost like it's almost like a kie, like Lykke, like Lykke.
That's how
Lykke?
I once I said that if you say the word "que" like in Spanish, like "que,"
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
don't.
kind of how you would.
Yeah, Spanish is a
Sure,
good
yeah.
help
Tell
us.
us another language you speak that we don't speak. That does not help us.
Well, that's closer. Everyone can say
Lykke.
"que," like
Lykke.
Everyone speaks Spanish. Come on.
Lykke.
Lykke.
See?
Lykke.
Lykke.
Lykke. Wow, where does
Lykke?
It's so funny hearing it.
Yeah, she's gonna have nightmares trying to go back to bed.
every day.
Bunch of idiots just trying to say her name.
Okay.
I just
Like, how
I
are
say
you
all
gonna
this
do
because I
if
want to get
Bradley
it
can't
right.
even-
I want to be as accurate as possible. If I'm gonna say your name, I'd like to say it as accurately as possible. That's all. So that's why I
Yeah,
genuinely
I
care.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lykke.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lykke. Leak, yeah?
I-
Like leak, yeah?
Why are you putting like a J in there?
I don't
You're like
know.
doing like "Leek." Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
I-
yeah.
I'm really old and I enjoyed video games, so it just always reminds me. Your name always reminds me of the Mortal Kombat character Liu Kang. So like the credit. So it's like, yeah, exactly. So just take off the last part of it. It's like everyone just calls it like Liu Kang, and it just you
Yeah.
drop the ng. But that's clearly not how we're supposed to say it. Lykke, Lykke,
Yeah.
Lykke,
Yeah.
Lykke.
Leak,
Lykke.
Yeah.
Get out and
Yeah.
mow the yard. Lykke. Go shovel the
Yeah.
snow.
Just be like direct,
Right at it.
harsh,
Shovel,
loud.
shovel snow. Get out there.
Then it's more correct. Just be like,
Yeah.
yeah. Be
Drive
like,
it. Drive it.
Don't
home.
be nice. Don't be like, oh, she's nice. Think she's direct. She's harsh. She's from Russia. Like that's what you have to have in your mind.
It's cold.
It's cold.
There's snow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I love it. For one last time, sponsors, thanks, shout outs, whatever you'd like to give, we'd love to hear it from you.
Oh yeah,
Lykke.
I definitely.
Lykke. Tell us your sponsors.
Hurry up, Lykke!
They really.
It actually it was the best I've ever heard you guys say it.
Great.
So on the podcast, Terry's gonna be like,
Lykke!
no, walking up to a 30-foot putt to take first at the Florida Open is Lykke. Great.
It's like a different version of like watching Spanish football or something.
It's like everyone wants me to be on lead car, so Terry can say my name.
Yeah, I know. Because I need more people to give me shit about name pronunciation. That's exactly
the
what
internet
I
will
need.
be great. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Thought Space, Infinite, any other sponsors you want to, Thought Space and Infinite, any other sponsors you want to shout out right now? And any other sponsors you're pursuing or should reach out to you? Is there anyone else?
No, I mean anyone can reach out. I am open to partnering up with other sponsors. I am. Well, I guess I could sponsor up with a lot of companies. So some things are in the works, but for now, I definitely want to thank Space and Infinite, which is the two companies I'm partnered up with right now.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the sponsorship. We hope, obviously, that everything goes well in terms of the sports visa. Otherwise, you guys might have to do a remote podcast from across the ocean or something weekly.
It'll make Are We Breaking Up much more interesting.
It definitely
if they're in opposite places. Yeah. Can they
What was
survive a
that?
long distance
breaking up.
relationship?
It'll be perfect.
I could not do long distance relationships.
Yeah, with Bradley and Lykke. It's so funny. I love the way you guys are. You please do this.
You have to do it once on the broadcast.
so
I promise.
You have to.
It'll be a slightly inside joke. Mo will yell at you, but it'll be fine.
Well, here we go. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for coming onto the show. I know it was the middle of the night and you got a little nap in before joining us, and now you can
shovel some cars out.
Yeah, or cuddle back up and enjoy the Norwegian winter. So thank you guys. Congratulations to both of you on your sponsorships. Thanks for being our first guest officially here on Smashbox in 2024. And stay warm and travel safely. And I look forward to seeing you guys both out on the tour.
Yeah. You guys, thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
See ya. Good night.
Right. Bradley and Lykke. They would put on a great podcast. I'm not love kidding. To have that.
It would be.
If they decide they want to do that, Smashbox will put that podcast out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will register a domain. Are we breaking up? We'll come up maybe with a better name for it.
I love it.
We'll definitely get it.
Yes, Tim and the rest of the crew. We see Ace run out on the board. All you guys joining us, thank you. I know a few people came in a little late, wondering what in the world was going on. Yes, tonight. Well,
some people probably aren't even here yet.
Oh, yeah, I guess in 5 minutes some people will be here. But yes, tonight, starting a little bit early. In fact, 1 hour early, and that's what we're going to kind of roll with to see how it goes. At least to get the probably get the whole season started, and this may be the official new start time.
And for those of you that were listening right now, I got a message or two, and there were some people on the board. I know the audio quality was a little up and down depending on where Bradley was sitting and turned. I think it was the AirPods. No big deal. I'll fix. I seriously will fix it in post. I can just level out those audio for the podcast listeners. So if you're listening as a podcast, you may not even notice.
Yeah,
sometimes they were quieter or louder, but we'll get it taken care of. It's not a big deal. Everything was like 99% audible. Just we'll just clean it up so it's a little bit more level. And us screaming Lykke will hopefully be compressed a little bit too.
I don't know. You might have to leave that in there uncompressed, so it sounds good.
Oh, geez.
Speaking of sounding good and talking about podcast names.
What?
R.I.P. Nick and Matt show.
I saw something, but what just
clickbait.
Okay.
No. Nick and Matt show to the gracious guys over there. So adorable, starting their 4th year as a podcast, which we can appreciate, which honestly does make me feel a little bit older, thinking like, holy shit, they've already been around for 4 years. I know we're going on 9, or this will be our 10th come November.
Yeah.
And they're starting their 4th year. Congratulations, of course, to them and the crew and the energy and effort and production, everything else that they do. During their show last night, they made an announcement that they will no longer be the Nick and Matt show, and they are officially rebranding.
The Nick and Nick show?
The Nick and Nick show. The triple Nick show.
Saint Nick show. Show us your Nick? Ooh,
shows your Nick or get out. No, they are rebranding to Staggered Stance Podcast. We should pause the video for your reaction. Now let me say this.
Well, at first you were going to before you even give me any context, I'm going to give you just my off the cuff. And this is so rude. Like we're literally they're a competing podcast. They're friends of ours. We give them a hard time. They give us a hard time. It's great. We love them. Saw Matt at USCGC. Gave him a big hug. He's awesome. At first I thought you were going to say Staggered Start, which I think is a great name for a podcast. Staggered Stance. Maybe, I guess if you're an opinionated broadcast, like maybe some of us are over here, some of us are over here. I guess. I mean, it'll grow on me. Whatever. You know what? If we told someone right now you're starting a podcast named Smashbox, people would be like, "That's a horrible name," and we'd be like, "You're probably right. We should change it."
Well, a little context to that is they had the same reaction to the name as you just did.
Okay.
And they admitted as much. Matt flat out said, I didn't love the name. And now that we've been using it internally and behind the scenes for a few months, we think you're going to grow into the name and that you're going to like it as well.
The only issue, is it supposed to be disc golf related?
It's still, no. Because it's still their podcast.
No, I know.
Now, but yes, it's 100% disc golf.
Nobody calls it a Staggered Stance is my problem. People call it straddle.
I use staggered stance
very
once in a while.
Very few, rarely.
But a staggered stance is different than a straddle. So you don't call it a straddle stance. You call it a staggered stance.
What's a staggered stance to you?
I feel like offset like
So
the way you and I putt.
So
It's
so
staggered
one foot
stance.
forward, 1 foot back is staggered
Yeah.
stance.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
I always just imagine a staggered stance is a little bit more your feet, not true like a straddle, but more spread apart. Like that's a step. But I guess if you want to, that's either way.
So they have talked. I don't know if I'm breaking any news for anyone because you've probably watched them last night, but they are officially promoting or have promoted intern Ben to being a regular panelist, which makes sense.
So why in theory they don't want to call it the Nick and Matt show anymore because there's multiple people.
And with that, they're also bringing now Matt's brother Josh into the mix.
I did see Josh on the show last night.
He's going to be a regular as well. Mm-hmm. So they're bringing Josh Graham into the mix, and Josh and Matt had done the Kids Foundation.
You mean Josh Graham, the guy that's like right over there on our
who
wall?
Supports us.
Supports Smashbox?
Well, he might have forgot he did that, so don't. Now you reminded him. Now he's going to. Well,
he can't. We can't take it down.
Yes. So
unless he comes to my house,
and then Evan, who obviously has been, part of Statmando and has a different role within the PDGA and being acquired by the PDGA. I don't know if he's going to be as regular as he has been, but the fact is they're really expanding more so beyond Nick and Matt to then include more so Josh along with Ben and then Evan and then therefore going with a rebranded name.
Should we rebrand? I mean, all the cool kids do it. Everyone says when you move sponsors, you sell more discs. Should we rebrand? I mean,
we already changed the time up to 8 p.m.
Like, as someone put on the board, like, Smashka!
Smashka! Smashka! We could become a Norwegian podcast?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
Okay.
So, anyway, if you're a little confused or you're curious about and they played into it, of course, with their slightly clickbaity title saying "No More Nick and Matt Show," huh? What? Question mark. That was the explanation that they give. Of course, we continue. We wish them nothing but continued success. They put in a ton of work into the show, and the fact that they have so many people, contributing every single Monday night,
it's phenomenal.
Is an extra effort in its own just to have that many people all on board week in and week out. So best of luck to them. But if you see staggered stance, and they know that's a play on a golf term, and then kind of a panel. More of an opinionated panel thing. Like it all makes sense. I think they said they went through 140 potential names to arrive at that one.
Yeah, but how many good ones?
They talked to Sunstein about some protections and intellectual property and such, as everyone should. We always say that for Sunstein.
Love Sunstein.
So they talked to them about it. They know what they're doing over there. So best of luck to them. All right. So I wanted to get that out there. Sponsorship news. There was more than Lykke today.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah, I guess there was.
She's
there was more than just her and Bradley.
The only one that matters. Yeah, there's been a little bit of news over the last couple days in general. Officially announced Gannon Burr leaving Prodigy. Yeah, that was officially announced.
Didn't see that coming.
Wow, really? Was your head in the sand, Terry?
Yeah.
But as well as that, something that some people didn't expect maybe was Alden Harris as well leaving Prodigy. So Gannon and Alden both leaving. No guarantee they're going to the same place. Nothing has been announced. Nothing. I think everybody's little hopes and dreams are that they do, just because they're kind of Alden, Gannon, Gavin, Isaac. They're all kind of like a little crew, and it makes it a lot of fun. So I think a lot of people just envision, almost like when we see like Bradley and Lykke, as well as Chris Clemens and Hannah. Like, everyone thinks, let's just go to the same place. They're almost like they're a little couple.
Yeah.
And so everyone kind of has this vision. There's no guarantee of it. Word on the street, obviously, that's been not announced, but that's been speculated on since last year, was Gannon to Discmania. Again, that was last year. This year could be totally different. So I think a lot of people are just maybe speculating because that's also where Gavin is. And I guess we'll just go on with that. Speaking of Gavin, he's been moved up a team on the Discmania team. So he is now a member of their, I forget the exact name of it, whatever their second highest team tier is. I think the top team tier was Kyle Klein and Eagle. And so whatever that next tier is, that had Nicholas Antala announcement. Nicholas announced he's leaving Discmania, but it also has Ella and now Gavin, as well as one or two other players in there. So those are some of the announcements we saw. Gavin moving up, Nicholas leaving. What else is out there, Terry?
Well, I was going to say on the Nicholas one is I think that was very surprising to some people.
It was.
And I'm going to go on record and say I think the wording is
suspect,
a little
misleading.
It's not quite the same as what you see from a lot of other sponsorship departures, and I'm just not certain how that's going to play out. And I guess that's what I could say on that in terms of how I perceived it. And I think about the, just like, well, we spoke to our favorite Norwegian a moment ago. There's, I think, some context. I think there's some translation. I think there's some of those things that can come into play. You see that sometimes with the way Kristen occasionally words things, although hers also usually looks spot on and very eloquent. There is, it just leaves a little room for speculation for me. Now, that's going to be my take. Take it or leave it as you will, but that's going to be my official take.
So you're saying that you think maybe he's staying with Discmania, but maybe there's a twist to it, or something like maybe he's like Gavin, and he's going to go up a team. Maybe there's a big announcement. He's going to move up to the top team.
Look at what we just saw with Bradley, and how it could potentially be spun as to Bradley, sponsored by Innova for all these years. Bradley's taking the next step. The next step may logically imply or assume that means a different company, when it just means a different tier or something of that nature.
It could also mean, as we've seen, some of this House of Disc stuff. Nicholas could be moving to another House of Disc. He could be going to Lat 64. He could be going to Castaplast. He could be an actual House of Disc sponsored player. I mean, there's other options that maybe he can still throw Discmania, depending on how things are arranged. So, yeah. One of the funny things about the Gannon Burr saying he's leaving Prodigy, as Gannon is wont to do, he trolled everybody a little bit by saying things like, I'm a dynamic player. I just want to, I want to be a world leader. World leader in disc sports, a champion discs, all this stuff. So go watch Gannon's video. It's on his YouTube page. It's really good. And he just kind of trolls a little bit of everybody. A couple other notes we'll say. Macy Veladiez is leaving Dynamic Discs. She did not say where she's going yet, but it was announced that her future is not with Dynamic Discs. So, as we all know, Macy is pregnant right now, so she's due, I believe, as someone said, in June. And so who knows what this year's future may be. Maybe she gets another sponsor right away. Maybe she takes a year of sponsorship off, depending on what her status is. So that's to be determined. Can you read? I'll but verbatim as to how it was worded, because here again, I immediately start to think of maybe she is choosing to forego a sponsorship opportunity. It could be leaving room for other people on the team, and she's not necessarily concerned about pursuing a sponsorship because of the new child or children she's hoping to bring into the world. I don't know if she's expecting more than one, but this time, best of luck. Yeah. So anyway, go on, read it for us. Well, this is by Dynamic as opposed to Macy. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Macy's. Do you want me to read this or no? If you've got Macy's, I do not have Macy's offhand. Not the exact minute. So sorry. What good are you? I'm not. I have the Dynamic one. Some other notes. We'll move on then. Some other notes. Emerson Keith. No secret, Innova posted him on their champion team.
Now, by champion, do you mean? I'm just kidding.
Champion. It's there. It's the one right below the star team where Bradley Williams just moved up. Okay. So Emerson Keith announced, obviously, he was leaving Lone Star. Now he is on Team Innova. Congratulations to him. Cadence Burge, she announced she is going to be resigning with Dynamic. So she is there. Emily
Discmania?
Re-signing with Discmania. Yeah, sorry, not Dynamic. Sorry,
Discmania. What? This is news.
Whoa, no. Yeah, with Discmania. My bad. And Emily Beach re-signing with Innova. We saw a couple other Innova posts out there. Innova tends to announce all their players the very beginning of the year. So you saw a lot of people that are just, saying, hey, I'm re-signing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and a lot of them are just staying with Innova. It seems like, not that, I know a lot of people are right now talking about Gannon and Eagle. Last year we saw Simon make an announcement a little later. I wouldn't write off Innova for Eagle right now quite yet, even though everyone's like, well, their team's been announced. That website's very easy to update. So right now nobody quite knows what Eagle is doing exactly. So, were there any... Jessica Weiss. Congratulations, Jessica Weiss, who got promoted from the champion team to the star team of Innova as well. So, yes. Jessica Weiss moving up to the star team.
Also, leaving Prodigy, we saw an announcement that came from one Dutch Napier, Batman.
Yeah, that's right. I was honest. That one honestly surprised me. I was taken just slightly aback because Dutch has been with Prodigy for a long time. Great human being, Dutch Napier, and I didn't expect it, honestly.
Yeah, and what got me thinking is Dutch is one of the longest sponsored players of that team right now.
Correct.
The only three people that have been around longer are
Kale.
Yep. The other two don't play.
Oh gosh, then I'm not going to be able to think.
Will Schustrick.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Doesn't really play.
It's funny because I don't really count. Yeah. I know he's sponsored. He's more an employee now.
Okay, and then in a very similar sense, the other one is who retired officially from competitive play.
Dave Greenwell?
Part owner, family part owner, Seppu Payu.
Seppu Payu, okay.
So Seppo and Will, two of the original people, along with Kale, the three of the original guys to come along with Prodigy, which was just announced in 2013. 2013. Dutch was of that secondary-ish team to then join. He had been with them, I believe, for a full 10 years. And so to see he was the next most tenured, if that's the right word.
That is the right word.
Player, to see him now. Now, Dutch has also been dabbling. Dutch the Dabbler has been doing well in both MPO and MP40, and one has to immediately think, is there that much more value exclusively placed on your positioning at MPO divisions, MPO big events, and can you be a dominant MP40 player that just doesn't garner the attention or the sponsorship dollars, regardless of what you've done in the past? And, we see Joe Revere's, obviously, again, with Innova. And we see what he's done. We see Johnny McRae, as you call him, the ageless wonder, for a number of years, winning in all sorts of divisions, including
MPO just recently,
including being in the MP50 Global Masters Tour points leader. Was it MP50 or was it just in general?
It might have been just in general.
He was
just the Global Masters.
Yeah, Global Masters. So he clearly is, considered very valuable and on one of the top tiers with Latitude 64. You just have to wonder: does Prodigy, when you think of a Prodigy Masters player,
Dutch?
I'm trying to think. Technically, Kale now.
Yes.
As of last year, but that's. I don't. A lot of others don't jump out at you as where you think of an Innova. You could think of a half dozen or a dozen, 40 or 50-year-old players that are household names that have been with Innova for many years, and long-standing players.
To be fair, Innova is really the only team where I can think of a significant MP40 team, just that they seem to hold on to that type of the player. I mean, I can't think of a prominent. Michael Jove with Discraft. Um,
You get yourself in trouble here.
Technically DOS.
No, he's not old enough.
Oh, you're right. He's not. He's still like he's like 37 or 38.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Yep. God.
Uh-huh.
Well, he might as well be. Just go Masters, Nate.
Yeah,
just jump into Masters. Obviously with Legacy, you've got Stevie.
Yep.
And he's very prominent. Patrick Brown as well. So yeah, there's
Legacy.
like you just don't see a lot of MP40 players that are significantly sponsored. And Kale is almost, pardon the pun, grandfathered into that clause because he's been with them for so long, and he's like a core member of that team. And he still does play MPO, but I think you're going to see a lot of MP40 out of that guy.
Yeah. Well, so we wish Dutch and everyone else the best of luck. I think a few more of these announcements will continue to unfold. I'm certain that Dutch has something in the works as to what his plans are going to be in terms of how much he's playing, and then he has to face that question of is something like Cali's Masters Tour something that he wants to pursue? Is it staying regional that's going to still give a sponsor the most bang for their buck? Is he still want to go out and try and be as competitive as possible in MPO at some of these big events?
Well, he's at that point where I think, as you know, he's got his foot in both pools. He can play MPO locally if he wants, and maybe the competition is better suited to his skill level, as opposed to going to MPO at a national level, as opposed to he is much more competitive at a national level at MP40. So he's still in that zone where he just, he can double dip. That guy can double dip.
Double dip. Trevor Harbaugh also going to,
and he can double Dutch, I bet.
Double Dutch. Yeah, I mean, Tim thinks that Dutch is going to get a staggered stance tattoo on it. I don't think he will.
He better not.
I don't think he will. Dutch is a smashy through and through.
Through and through. We love that guy.
So hopefully, if anything happens in terms of developments with him, we can have a chat with him. Matthew Blakely, Brad Scheck, couple of Discraft MP40 players. Danny Polk came up in the board as well. Danny, a Prodigy sponsored player over there in Minnesota, but I think Danny also is the recipient, and I don't want to mess it up, so I'll try and quickly do the clickety clicks. Received an award as well recently that's not quite golf. It's like golf adjacent. And let me find it quickly so I don't mess it up, because I don't want to do that. My understanding is that he has been inducted into the North American Indigenous Athletics Hall of Fame.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations to you, Danny. I saw that on the Facebooks today. Oh, here it is. He says, wow, first, thanks to the North American Indigenous Athletics Hall of Fame, Dan and Susan Neiman for this honor. I am beyond grateful to be inducted into the 2024 class. And he goes on to thank a whole bunch of people, friends, sponsors, including Prodigy, Airborne, Blue Ribbon Pines, for their support to continue to go out there and represent and show off the game. So again, congratulations to Danny, or Daniel Polk, as many of you know. Lived in Wisconsin, and just an all-around super great human. Has moved over to Minnesota more than a decade ago and continues to be a threat at every event over in Minnesota.
I got to see him at Standing Rocks for a few moments. We shook hands and said hi. And
then he's like, okay, I'm going to the lead card, and you're going to stay right here on hole 7.
7? Wow, thanks.
It's okay, 17.
That's much better, Terry.
Okay. Either way, he said hi to you.
Yes,
so
we chatted and shook hands. Some other names that were brought up, or another name that was brought up, was Katrina Allen signed, continued her sponsorship with DGA. I don't know nobody seems to know what her contract really is, if there's a length, if it's a year to year, but she did announce that she's going to be with DGA again this year, which to me kind of feels like, it is, maybe she's on a year by year basis between her and DGA. I like, if you announce, hey, I'm going to be with them another year, you usually don't do that if you're on a multi-year agreement, but that she could also just be saying, hey, I'm still here, I'm still with DGA, just because maybe she understands that not many people know what her contract status is, because it's probably being kept under wraps for their own, that's their own wishes.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it. You mentioned Parker Welk earlier.
I did not mention that.
Okay, I will.
It was in our list. But
on the 31st, he had announced also from Prodigy that he says, thank you for the support and the opportunity you have given me. The 2023 season was nothing short of incredible, and I've made memories I will never forget. With that being said, I'll be representing a different company in 2024. And then he went the Chandler Kramer route. Any guesses? You have a guess, Johnny?
No, not a clue.
No guess.
I mean, I could randomly throw in a name.
Well, some thought it was a hint that if you watched, which I know you did, the Big Arm tournament that I filmed in Arizona a few weeks ago, the shirt he was wearing very much looked like it said DGA on the back, and I think that wasn't a D, it was actually an O. And it was representing some other brand that's not disc golf related, but it very much looked like a DGA. Because I remember it was the very first hole. I'm standing behind him, ready for him to putt, and I'm like, "What? Why is he wearing a DGA shirt? What did I miss? This was a month ago.
Might be a little early.
It was not a DGA shirt. It wasn't their font, but plenty of comments in my YouTube section said, "Hey, why is he wearing a DGA shirt?" Anyway.
Well, if I'm going to throw out a random guess, because I'm going to throw a random guess out.
Okay.
Lat 64.
I
mean, that's literally as random as I can get.
Okay.
I don't know who or what. I mean, I could see it being DGA.
Thought Space.
I mean, maybe
Lone Star?
Could be a Lone Star guy. It does feel like Lone Star is kind of changing their perspective on their sponsored players. It doesn't feel like they have as many MPO sponsored players right now. Mm-hmm. You know, they still have Nico, of course. Mm-hmm. They've got Carter Aarons. Mm-hmm. Carter Aarons is really kind of an up-and-comer. Nico, not at all an up-and-comer. Mm-hmm. But other than that, as far as MPO players, I can't think of another MPO player right now. Chandler, right?
No, Chandler's gone.
Chandler's gone. Oh, Robert Burridge? Bobby
I
B?
think he re-signed.
He re-signed. I think Bobby B re-signed. So,
I think, or did he? Now I'm going to sound like an idiot.
I don't know. I don't know if he re-signed. I know they were all joking about that he was all by himself or something. So, I'm not sure. His Facebook.
If he didn't, he needs to update his Facebook. Okay, here he says it right here with 11 hours ago. So this is understandable. We didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
With 2024 starting, the disc golf season start for me is only 1 month away. With that in mind, I'm happy to be with Lone Star Disc for another year. My bag will change a slight bit with new discs coming out, especially the Spur, the Horny Toad, and with some work, the Wrangler.
Is he going to wear jeans on the course? He should.
That seems appropriate. So, congrats to Bobby Burridge.
Great job, Bobby.
Burridge.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know what Lone Star's plan is. They haven't called me to fill me in yet.
No, but
so
we might get to the bottom of it.
I'll wait for my phone call to figure out what their 2024 plan looks like. But I could see, I mean, Parker at Lone Star. I could see him at Lat. I mean, I could see him at Thought Space.
Dynamic,
Infinite,
where he made that massive splash.
Could be, but it just really feels like, and I haven't talked to anyone at Dynamic, but it really feels like Dynamic is kind of shedding players right now.
Okay.
Like that they're not making any big splashes. It almost feels like the year or so before Ricky and Kona, where it was very quiet for them, and then they came out with a big splash. And maybe that's what they're going to do again. I don't know. Maybe they're going to make a big splash, and we're going to see Eagle at Dynamic Discs or something. But we'll see. That's your sponsorship news. Do you like it? Used a couple years ago, it kind of felt like everybody announced they're leaving in November and December, and then the first of the year, first, second, third of the year, all the announcements. Hey, I'm going here, I'm going here. Now it feels like everyone's waiting till the first of the year to announce they're leaving. And now we're going to kind of spread out the where am I going? Do you, from a media perspective, do you like that? And then I would say from just a general fan perspective.
I'm fine with it. What I would lean into is with some assumption, think that some of these manufacturers, you're not out of contract until the 31st. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe specifically Prodigy has that. You are under contract until the 31st, but that wouldn't necessarily make sense because you see like Lykke announcing earlier than say Parker just yesterday. So maybe that theory is out the window. I know their contract. I know the contract is up on the 31st. That much I'm pretty certain of. Is there any clause or obligation as to when you can announce a leaving? That I don't know. And so maybe that's what's helping drive this bus or push that narrative is, and I know that's been part of the speculation with someone like an Eagle as to, I mean, Eagle went live and made mention of, he was, I think, opening a mystery box. And then a lot of people were like, oh, he's not pushing mystery boxes. Then all of a sudden there's a mystery box thing and everyone's like, well, wait, now I'm really confused. And Eagle, I watched him. I clicked on it just for a minute, and it was in the 1 minute he said something about, here's my mystery box. I love my mystery boxes or something of that nature. They're only so much, and I get free mystery boxes for life. And, like, if that doesn't, like, try to say something, I don't know what does. But, so anyway, I guess my point, though, is some people are making this content and trying to either thank or hold up their end of the bargain with whomever they're with, maybe, and they may stretch that all the way till December 31st, even if they are moving on. I think that's a legitimate concern, most definitely for some of these players. If you have a high-profile player like Eagle who feels like he probably moves discs every time he makes a post, you probably want to get as much as you can. That's assuming he's leaving, and even if he's not, you probably want him to be making those posts. So I'm okay with it spreading out. I don't... Like let's face it, nobody's competitively throwing really for another month and a half.
I think, I'll say this, from a fan perspective, it was, and even a media perspective, it was kind of fun to get everything at the first of the year. Now, from a media perspective as well, it's going to be nice for us that we can spread out some of the news, because if everything's announced this week, next week, what do we talk about?
Sure.
But from a player and manufacturer perspective, I can understand saying, hey, this is really great to spread out the announcements so we all get our own time in the spotlight. And as we know with a lot of players, with someone, we'll just say Gannon or Eagle, when they announce wherever they're going, I think I've said it in the past couple of years, you should have a stack of discs ready to ship out that door. So when Gannon says, I'm going to Smashbox Discs, we should have 1,000 or 5,000 discs that go on sale that minute. The minute he makes that announcement, makes it official, that is the peak of excitement, the peak of absolute anticipation. Gannon should come out the gates and say, hey, I'm going to throw the Smashbox. What's our name of our disc? The microphone. We're going to throw the microphone. And I don't want to impede on Kevin Jones's sound kind of thing. But I'm going to throw the Smashbox microphone, and we have 1,000 or 5,000 of them sitting here, and they're going to go out the door with his stamp on it. Like, I want that to be ready. Because to me, you're missing an opportunity as a manufacturer if it's announced next week and you're like, cool, stay tuned for discs. We'll get them to you in the next 3 weeks. By that point, we've already seen 2 or 3 other announcements. Strike while the iron is hot is kind of, I think, the mentality on this one. So I get why manufacturers could or should maybe do that. From my perspective, it was really nice on the first of the year. It was kind of like everyone opens up their browser after New Year's, and they're like, what what were made? But
I don't know. There's so many players that we now care about, and there's so many high profile players, and then I'm sure there's plenty of players that like are all geared up for their announcement, and everyone's like, cool, yay. Just I guess depends on where you hit or land on the spectrum, the fandom spectrum of sorts, but they'll all continue to roll out. The few that are waiting, there's obviously anticipation, like you're saying, for a number of our highest profile players, and it's just a matter of what day is that going to be on. We'll see.
And by the way, Tim Courts nailed it. The disc should have been called the Aftershow.
Yeah,
sorry, I fell on my face on that one. Thanks, Tim.
Mm-hmm. We'll go with that. Yeah, that's something for later that I've got. Okay. Real quick, Emerson Keith, I'll make a quick plug that Emerson Keith not only, of course, announced to join Innova's team champion. Spit that all out. He's also going to be here in Wisconsin this weekend. So Emerson Keith coming here to the Milwaukee area, the indoor disc golf experience going on. Jeff Showers, Mike Harrington, the whole crew. That's taking place over in Brookfield. I had a chance to go over there. They had kind of a glow. I don't want to call it a pre-show, but they had a glow event this last weekend on Friday night. I was able to poke my head in for about a half hour to walk around, say hi to a whole bunch of people. It's kind of a precursor to what's coming up this weekend. You guys have seen.
Are you going this weekend?
I might poke my head in there again if I can. I'm not signed up to participate.
Well, let me know if you do. Maybe I'll hitch along.
You've seen Simon, we've seen Barsby, Philo. A number of our players have been at these. They have them taking place here in Milwaukee area, Brookfield technically, and then also in Rockford and in Dubuque. I think Chris Dickerson's been to them, Gannon's been to them. So you've seen these guys, various people post on their channels through the last couple of years in doing this. And it's going on this particular weekend. The 2 nights are here in the Milwaukee, and then the next couple are in Dubuque and Rockford over the next month or so. But Emerson Keith is the featured guest here in the Milwaukee area this weekend. So it'll be good to see him. I'm sure he's jacked up about leaving some Texas weather to come up to Wisconsin. At least it's pretty mild. We don't have too much. We don't have any snow, and things are pretty mild here. But we'll have Emerson Keith in town this upcoming weekend. So looking forward to that. And best of luck. I think one night is singles and one night is double. Also, I don't know which night is which, but I know that's what's going on out here. So looking forward to having them. Right. Anything else in terms of PDGA releases or news? The new PDGA rules will, in theory, or not in theory, will be in effect.
Yeah.
Any of the rules that we talked about last year, a lot of them then technically go into effect as of the 1st. I think maybe the biggest one being the scoring.
That everyone has to keep their own score. I think that's going to be probably one of the biggest day-to-day actual adjustments to get made. I think the scoring will be probably the biggest one, that everyone's responsible for the scoring on the card, for all scores on all the cards. I don't know. I think that was about it in terms of other news there. It was pretty quiet over the holiday weekend.
Understandably.
Unlike the last holiday weekend where the PDGA dropped their big news, nothing came out this Friday. It was just a very quiet and hopefully happy and safe New Year's.
Yeah, and I'll go on and say I don't think we saw any other major DGPT-related news that dropped that was unexpected or out of the ordinary or groundbreaking or anything of that nature either. I think actually, in fact, DGPT, the entire company
they had a whole week
off.
A few
days off.
Yeah, so they had the week of Christmas to New Year's off.
Even all the behind the scenes guys and everything else. Big shout out, happy birthday! Yesterday was Steve Rico's birthday. He's caught us, Johnny. He's 45 officially, along with us
for a
little while. And
how did that guy get so old?
I know. And today, Des Redding celebrating her birthday. So
and yesterday, Dion Arlen. That's right. From Statmando, now part of the PDGA. The Whip, Dion, happy birthday to all of the birthday people over the
one other thing to announce or to quickly talk about, I'll just read this word for word so I don't screw it up too much. Charlie Meade, who was inducted into the Disc Golf World Disc Hall of Fame, Charlie Meade had made a post saying, congratulations to host Chinese Taipei for taking the gold medal at the WIFDIF Asia Oceanic Team Disc Golf Championship, and for winning Spirit of the Game as well. Then it goes on to click on the results, which actually I could put right in the chat board if anybody cares about those to read up a little bit more. But that took place. We saw Australia represented, Japan represented. Who else did we see? I'm sorry. Those were in the finalists, it looks like. Taipei and Thailand and Hong Kong, China all were at the games. So read more. I'll put it in the chat if you want to read up on that. So congratulations. Sounds like fun to, again, I know we think about off season and we think about a lot of our players taking a break and relaxing, and they should. And then we're also seeing other factions in other places of the world that aren't maybe under snow or dealing with rougher conditions, or just maybe are generally kind of tropical or warm, and taking advantage. We talked to Thomas Gilbert about the Pan Am Games. I think you're going to see more of those opportunities come up and be more prevalent during the season, but also largely in the off season, which I think gives a lot of opportunities for people who don't maybe play in those types of situations, whether it's higher pressure or exhibition style. I think there's going to be more of those that are going to come about, and I'm here for it. I love the idea. I love the concept. So, congrats. Golf, semi-golf related. Ricky Wysocki.
He had a New Year's party.
Hosted a New Year's party. And I swear I had intentions to check in with him today to get the update. But instead, I just relied a little bit on the Facebook posts. I didn't see any police-related pictures. All right? I didn't see any cop cars at the door. None that were photographed.
It looked like he had a legit company come in and do bartending.
He had bartending. He had DJ and lights. And then an open bar. And obviously his pool table, pool, hot tub, cold plunge, all putting, everything. And he opened it up to like semi-legit strangers.
Do we need to go to New Year's at Ricky's next year? Maybe host a podcast from there?
Maybe.
Could be fun.
Just a big shout out to Rick. I've said this before. He's very warm and welcoming and kind and gentle and all those types of things, and friendly. And if you see him friendly on the course, he is just like that in person. And at some point, he just had the idea of like, hey, should I just hold a party here and invite a bunch of golfers? And he did just that. Tons of people from all around the country immediately went with the lamest response ever, which was, buy me a ticket and I'll be there. Does that include round trip airfare?
No, lame. That's dumb.
You're offering a free party, but can you pay for me to show up too? All right. That was the lowest hanging lamest fruit, but he went through a little minor vetting process, I think, and ultimately just had a ton of golfers, strangers, but disc golf community people show up to his house, and looks like everybody had a good time from what I could see. So what a cool experience. Like, let's just say that.
That is cool.
No matter how you cut it, the idea that one of our top players would open up his house to have a party of that nature and have an invite, I think is very cool. I give him a ton of credit, and good on him.
And if you didn't know, next year, 2024, New Year's Eve is a Tuesday night.
No way.
It is. I just looked.
That makes
December
sense, 'cause
31st.
it's a leap year. Yeah. So that, okay. I don't know. Sounds like that I know Rick would be for it.
Yeah, why not? He's got internet. We've got microphones.
He's got great internet, actually. Anyway, very, very cool. So I hope everyone that was able to attend had a really good time. And I will check in with, maybe there's stories he'll tell me, and maybe it's actually low key being nixed for next year. But from the few public posts that I saw, it looks like it was pretty successful. So very cool.
I don't really have anything else after that, Terry. I mean, do we want to wrap this up and get into an after show?
Yeah, let's do that. It sounds like it feels so early, because it is.
It is very early.
But that's all right. That's all right, as we're kicking things off. All right, with that being said, holy cow, this is
2024.
First episode of 2024, episode 487. Big shout out to all of you making it through the new year, turning a page. And hopefully, I know a lot of people talk about a fresh start, whether you needed it or you're already bulldozing into 2024 with excitement and jubilation for other reasons. Whatever the case is, we're glad you're here. We appreciate all of the love and the support here on our show, and looking forward to another solid year of Smashbox TV podcast. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have what we call the after show. That's where we'll talk about things golf or non-disc golf related, anything and everything in between. Interact with you guys out on the board, and we can BS about whatever's going on, and we'll catch up with you guys more there. So for Johnny V, I'm the disc golf guy. That's 487. We'll see you in the after show when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashboxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 487's
After Show. I think we've been later than this to start. I think we've started late after
that sounds about right. Here we are.
It's 9:41 Central Time.
Yes. So
we're starting the after
extra
show.
Hour earlier, coming in at 8 o'clock for the regular show Central. We'd love feedback as to if this change of moving it up in an hour, does it benefit you? Does it significantly benefit you? Does it not matter whatsoever because you're listening or watching a day or two later? Regardless of what it is, even if you're completely indifferent, we'd love to know that. I mean, maybe there's a massive uproar and objection to the 8 p.m. start. I doubt it, but maybe there is.
You can email.
We would take that into consideration.
Yeah, you could email us, john@smashbox.tv. You could leave a message here on the YouTube. You could leave an Apple review and tell us, man, I really don't like that 8 p.m. It bothers me when I listen to my podcast the next day.
On Thursday. Yeah. Why'd you guys go at 8? You missed all that potential news between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. that could have came out on Tuesday, but then you actually missed it. So nonetheless, we're here. This is the After Show. If somehow you're new here or unfamiliar, in the After Show, really, there's not a lot of rules. We generally will stay focused loosely around the idea of disc golf, the sport of disc golf, and things of that nature. However, we sometimes will go all the way off the rails into anything pop culture or current events or anything else going on, typically staying away from politics and religion, but any topic can potentially be on.
Should we do some relationship advice?
Yes.
mean, with Bradley and Lykke?
I think it would be fair to start asking, since they're posing the question, like, are they in it for the long haul? Because clearly, if you listen to the show already, spoiler, Brad has not proposed. Brad has not married her. Whoa. And I feel like that might solve a few problems. It might create other ones, but it could solve a few.
You're right.
That she's currently having as she's applying for a sports visa.
A quick courthouse marriage could solve some problems as far as
Just
her
saying.
playing. Mm-hmm. I am probably sure that has been joked about between them or talked about or
tongue-in-cheek joked about or wait, how's he reacting joked about or she or he or, who knows,
maybe she's not interested.
Yeah
I want that old guy.
She's like, you ain't good enough for a visa. I ain't wasting that opportunity. Who knows? So Yes. Great having them on the show, and best of luck to them. We talked about their sponsorship announcements, and then obviously that's largely what's in the news right now, is the sponsorship announcements. And we haven't seen a lot of tour schedules yet. I think you have a pretty good idea where most people are going to go to most events following the Pro Tour. And then it's just really a matter of who will be going overseas for some of the European Pro Tour events, and who's going to stay local for and not go to those. That's about it. I'm looking ahead. No surprise. I know I've been talking about it, but I'm looking ahead for the next few weeks. We have potential events like Shelley Sharp, Maricopa Open, Asia Open going on, Chiang Mai Open, Samui Swine, bunch of events. And then as those all start to wrap up, coming back and Disc Golf Pro Tour All-Stars.
Mid-February.
And then chess.com Open.
I do want to give a little notice for those of you that are listening and pay attention. Skip Ace is the front page right now is under construction. The actual whole app is under construction, but you can still log into the actual app portion. But the landing page is being worked on right now for a big overhaul that's happening behind the scenes. I was handed a staging site today that had a couple little issues that we're going back and forth and tweaking to make sure that we can get everything set. Obviously, this is a big update. We're looking at getting live scoring of your leagues on each individual league page. So rather than having to wait for the next day to see what the results are, we're hopefully going to get that taken care of on the fly and see what's going on. So that's happening behind the scenes right now, and not going to lie, I know I've got basically about little over a month to get that done, and I'm still nervous. I honestly feel that I have two of the best developers, maybe for this language, for PHP Laravel, maybe in the world.
Damn.
Working on this. And
It's not done yet?
No. They spent almost the whole first month basically taking what my previous developer did, who I thought was really good, and reformatting it. Because we did a bunch of upgrades to the language, upgrades to a couple of the back end things, so everything had to be tested and all this other stuff. And then they were like, well, there's maybe a better way to do this now than there was before. So we took almost the whole first month and just, I didn't do a damn thing.
No.
It's just my checkbook. And they went and refactored most of the back end. So hopefully it'll be running more efficient. It's going to be easier for future development to happen. When you've got one guy who does it all, it's real easy for him to go and be like, oh, I know how this works. When you've got a small team that I have now, it's much better to make sure things are perfect the way they want to do it. So we're looking at that. Cross my fingers that we'll get a lot of other things taken care of in the next month. So Eric asks, are you both working with the DGPT in 2024? Terry is Terry is for certain. He's currently on their schedule to work a handful of events, 8 to 10 events or something like that is what it looks like right now for broadcasting, for doing in the booth. I don't know what else there's out there. I am currently not on the schedule, but they have one of the guys reached out to me and just asked if I would be interested, and if I was, what events I would be interested in. And I responded. I said, I'm interested in whatever you need me for. If it's one event, great. If it's 10 events, I'm here. I know the Disc Golf Pro Tour is really trying to work on their internal people, working with them to make sure that everybody is up to date and everyone knows how to work. They've got multiple people that can do the job that I was doing. I worked with Ian Lunger, who him and I kind of worked hand in hand to get the broadcast where it is, and now they've got multiple people that are doing directing, and it's kind of branched off. My services are less required these days.
You're replaceable. You're 100% replaceable. Just say it.
We all are. We all are replaceable,
Yeah.
Terry. Yeah. I used to not be replaceable, and then I taught everybody how to do everything, and now I'm replaceable.
Exactly.
I should have kept my mouth shut. But As of right now, I am not scheduled for anything in the Pro Tour. They may call me up and say, hey, we need you to do Waco, or we need you to do MPO for USWDGC or something like that. Yeah, MPO for USWGC. I'm going to be sitting here waiting for it.
Yeah, I would hold your breath on that one.
I'm hoping. That's the one I'm really hoping for.
I hope you get that one too, because that would be...
Maybe MP40.
That would be,
I'm looking for MP40 at the USWDGC.
Yeah,
so no, it could just be anything. Who knows? I'm open to the ideas, just have to figure it out. I'd like to play more this year, so we'll see. I know that they're looking at doing some watch-alongs this year. There's other things they're working on. It's going to be an exciting year for the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
And just to, I don't know if it was a regular show or as we were in the after show already, but Johnny McRae is your global Masters champion in the MP 50 to 54 category. So I think there was maybe some question or discrepancy. We were uncertain. I am now seeing it in front of my face that he is the global Masters champion in Pro Men 50 to 54 as shown on his page. So congrats to him. I wanted to get that in there. Speaking of which, Bradley did Schwebby. How many events did he play over the weekend?
I'm thinking just one, if any. No, none. I bet you none over New Year's.
No, you don't think so?
No.
He played one in the. He is 1 for 1 in 2024. He does have his first win. He played in the fourth annual Hangover Classic, where he was able to take down an MP40 victory by 3 strokes. That was a 2-round event. So congrats to Schwebby, who took down his first event of the year. And I'm going to see if he did close out 2023. There would have to be something on New Year's Eve, right? Doesn't that seem practical? No. Looks like the 20... December 30th. He didn't get the win. He instead took second playing in MPO. Who did he lose to? Ryan. Oh, that's right. Ryan Edgerton.
Edged him out?
A playoff ensued. Ryan Edgerton gets Edgerton's out. Won Brian Schweberger, right? And I think I have a story on this. Excuse me. Chuck Conley? Spike Heiser? I think sent me a message. I apologize. I'm just now remembering this. Let's read what he says. Ryan Edgerton, 17 years old, beat Schwebby in a 1-hole playoff yesterday.
Damn kids.
He sent this a few days ago. Unique 25-hole round 1, 13-hole round 2.
What?
He came from 5 strokes down going into round 2. So Chuck Conley, Spike Heiser sent me this a couple days ago. I'm now just remembering he sent it, so I'm glad we got but a 17-year-old beat his grandpappy in Brian Schweberger.
I hope you feel good about beating that old man there.
Yeah. Jeez. Back in my day.
We had respect for our elders.
Exactly.
We let them whoop up on us.
The 17-year-old Ryan Edgerton takes down Brian Schweberger in a 1-hole playoff in a unique, 38 holes of play? Is that what I read? 25 and 13 is 38. So
that is weird.
Yeah. So nonetheless, I know you need at least 13 to get a rating.
Correct.
So maybe that's why it was at least that many that round. I don't know what the deal was, but congrats to Ryan. Ryan, interestingly enough, turned down the cash. So beat Schwebby, wins it, but turns down the cash.
Sounds like that's a kid that's looking to maybe play one of the amateur championships this year.
Exactly. So, nonetheless, congrats.
You think he went out and celebrated with a drink? Probably not at
maybe
17.
Some high C?
Maybe.
Maybe some sparkling grape wine or grape juice?
Probably just a Gatorade.
Yeah, probably more like Schwebby's haterade. Maybe he drank up Schwebby's tears.
Oh, yeah.
That's... we love you, Schwab. But, yeah, he's 1 for 1 in 2024, so... Good on you.
All right, Terry, question.
Uh-oh.
What did you do for New Year's? You
kept things pretty low-key, no major drinking, nothing of any significant note. It was actually nice and low-key, which was, I was all about it.
Was it at home?
Yeah, I was in the area.
That's not the same thing.
No, they're a little different, but yeah, I kept it low-key locally. And nothing wild or crazy. I did see. When did this become a thing that there's fireworks in Milwaukee at 8:30.
I just think
like I get midnight fireworks, which I know a lot of people bitch about.
Were they official fireworks?
Yeah,
of the city
they were
of Milwaukee?
like official, like the Deer District area.
Oh, okay.
Lighting off. It's just 8:30 is such a weird time. Like if it's 9 o'clock and you're recognizing some other weird time zone, maybe. I know Explorium, who has hosted Simon and Eagle and a bunch of other golfers. Explorium had what they called an Irish New Year, mixed in with some drinking and whatnot. They had it at like 6 o'clock at Cheers. Like I get all of that, but 8:30, like 8:30 fireworks, just a weird time to me that there would be some significant fireworks lit off where the Bucks play.
You got to figure maybe if that's when everyone's still sober enough to watch them.
8:30. It was just kind of funny. What did you do? Did you get wild?
Oh, got totally wild and crazy and didn't leave the house.
Okay.
Yeah, stayed at home. I think we played. Yeah, the Packer game was on New Year's Eve. I did not watch a moment of it.
Really?
Not
1 minute.
Not 1 minute of it. I watched just a real short little bit of football during the day, and then got to doing some work around the house. And my son got a new version of Settlers of Catan. So Knights and Cities or something. I don't even know what it was called. But he set it up down here in the basement. We came down here at about 7 o'clock. And it took us literally with the new rules. It took us like an hour and a half just to read the rules, figure out how to play this variation of a game we already are very good at and know how to play. And then we ended up playing 2 games. And by the time we were done, it was I kept track of the Packer game on my phone. And it was 8 o'clock, and I was like, oh, that's right, Packers. Let's see how they're doing. They were up like 13-3, and I was like, oh, cool. And I just watched them continue to rack up the points. Can't say it was sad to see, but we played board game. And it was about 10:50 when we ended. My wife and I walked upstairs, sat down on the couch, watched the New York New Year's with Ryan Seacrest.
Okay. Not Anderson Cooper.
Not Anderson Cooper. Nope, it was Ryan Seacrest. Okay. We don't have cable. I think those guys are on cable. And then about 10 minutes after that, I went, brushed my teeth, lay down in bed. My wife joined me maybe 20 minutes later. After there was I think Green Day played that night on the West Coast, so she wanted to sit up and watch that. But I was just like, I'm good. I'm gonna lay down in bed. And that was it. That was my New Year's. Super exciting. I barely made it up past midnight, laying in bed, surfing around on my phone, and that was literally just a wild and crazy night.
Then the fireworks. Then they really happen. Okay. Yeah, well, hopefully you guys, if you're here, at least you had a semi-safe or practical New Year. So hopefully it was safe for all of you out there and had a good time. I know there was a high likelihood of almost sort of kind of pulling off a chaining in the New Year event. I was hoping to be able to do one at the end of the year on the 31st, and then some things didn't unfold in our favor, and so wasn't able to pull it off. But I am thinking about maybe there could still be some kind of a flex start, a little event I run before I start my big Southeast Asia tour. So I'll keep you guys posted. But sounds like there was golf to be played just about everywhere. So hopefully everybody had a good, safe New Year as we roll into this year. What was I going to just ask? Oh, what? Only because I really genuinely don't know, and I was too lazy to look it up. What exactly is the implication for the Packers in the playoffs if we talk local sports here for just 2 minutes?
We're talking local football here on the show. Currently,
the Packers there, hey?
The Packers there, hey? Currently, the Packers need to win. They need to beat the Bears in order to make it to the playoffs. I think if they beat the Bears, they should have an automatic last chance to get in.
Yeah, if they win, they're for sure into the playoffs. And then, isn't it true if somebody else loses or something that there's a chance we're not? We might not be the bottom seed.
Okay. Yes, correct. There's a chance that we could be, I think, the 7th seed and then play the Lions versus, playing Philly or something. No, not Philly. I don't know.
But win and we're in.
Correct.
Is the number one objective.
Which is exact position we were in last year against the Lions.
And lost to the
Lions. And now the Bears. I mean, and the Bears are looking relatively okay. Like they were rough in the beginning of the year, but Matt LaFleur has not lost to the Bears yet in like a couple of years. So we'll see. I mean, I'm again not counting any chickens before they hatch. It would be really cool to see this young team make it to the playoffs. I know we have a little bit of a football chat in the Discord, in the Smashbox Discord between some of us.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a Lions fan in there. There's a Vikings fan. There's a few people. We go back and forth and joke. But I said at the beginning of the season, someone was like, so is Jordan Love the man? Is he going to be the guy? And I even said, I'm like, I don't know. I need to give him like 8 to 10 games, I hope. I think he's proven that he has earned himself another 2 years with the way he's been playing.
Okay.
There could be worse options to have than Jordan Love. I'm excited for this young team. They make a lot of mistakes. They need help on defense, but ultimately it could be cool. That's where we're at for Packer Talk.
All right. I just need to keep it local there.
Just keep it local. Local sports on the 9s.
Yeah, something like that.
It's 9:59, so it was on the 9s.
Yeah. Tim says Bengals eliminated, and every Pittsburgh fan let me know. Makes sense. Bob Goike out there on the board. Leave it to Beaver 3. That would be a good idea, Bob. If we could,
that could be fun.
If we could, maybe I should reach out to Beaver Dam tomorrow. For those that don't know, I once ran.
Just a city.
It's a city in south central Wisconsin.
Down in
Sounds
Compton.
funny to say. It's not quite like in California, but in south central Wisconsin, very short and easy, very, very, very easy birdieable course. That's a lot of fun to play, especially when we've had some shortened days and the winter months give you some pretty short days. And
There's really only 2 holes that are difficult to reach up.
Yeah, and once for 2 years I ran the Leave It to Beaver and 1 and 2, both of those events. Hence, it was in Beaver Dam, and then that was PDGA singles that was held for a Skyline Amateur Series that I used to host, and then also in the wintertime I would run what was called the Random Beaver Roundup. And that actually was 3 rounds that could be played in a day on this incredibly short course. And that was one of the rare opportunities where we played tough shot, meaning you and your partner throw, and the other team that you were playing against got to choose which lie you would play from. The good news was this course is so incredibly easy that you really shouldn't be getting punished that much. So it still made it move along relatively well, as opposed to playing it at, Northwood Black or anywhere else. And it was a lot of fun. So you played the first round was tough shot. The third round with your partner, the third round of the day was best shot from the longs, I want to say. And then the middle round was optional, and you played best shot random draw from the shorts, where like you needed to shoot like 16 or 17 under to be competitive. So Random Beaver Roundup, also another favorite of mine throughout all the years. I tell you. Aaron's not the first to comment.
What?
Aaron says, who gave Terry a toupee? Not the first comment on my hair tonight, so I'll address
shaggy
it. It's a little shaggy, and
side.
it looks a little like it looks like I'm 60, maybe like I'm 60, and my hair is from is like a Lego character or something. Like, yeah, I could see where you're getting that from, but no, this is all natural. I just need a haircut, but.
Yeah. Me too.
Thank you. Yes, Johnny's is getting long here as well.
It's getting to be. I didn't have one that long ago,
so I'll take it. All right, Aaron, are you going to be in Thailand? Huh? Are we going to see you there? Ray asks if it looks like some DGN content has been getting posted to the Jomez YouTube page, that Catch series with Brian Earhart, for example.
Not surprising. I again, as everyone knows, my personal account doesn't really subscribe to hardly any disc golf pages, so I think I would have to log into maybe my Smashbox YouTube account to see the Jomez stuff and DGN stuff. But it wouldn't surprise me if the stuff that DGN is putting out, they're trying to promote it publicly, like, hey, look what we have behind the paywall. You know, if we all know that the off season can be, some people, it's funny, some people are really looking for different new content. Others are just like, cool, call me when the Pro Tour starts again.
Sure.
They have no
Ready
care
to check
about
out.
any. You and I have both seen some phenomenal disc golf videos get dropped that have nothing to do with coverage that get squat reviews. And some of the most mediocre coverage will get 4 to 5 times the views. It's just what people
Don't
want.
make sense.
Well, it does if you like coverage and you don't really care about the players. Like, if you don't care about Gannon Burr's personality, Brian Earhart's questions, whoever, that stuff's not going to interest you. And that, I feel like that is a smaller subsection of our viewers, and I think the DGN found that out last year when they laid off a portion of their creative team, the people that were coming up with this extra video content. I just don't think that the viewership numbers were there to make it worthwhile, because you and I have talked about it off the air, that just some of that stuff just doesn't hit with people. It's, you know, I can understand, like, you know, I'm a football fan. Am I going to go out of my way to watch the Jordan Love documentary about, you know, him growing up? Probably not. If I catch it, great. But I'm not probably going to. I'm going to go. I want to watch football.
Yeah.
So I can understand that concept. It just feels different because we're so ingrained into the sport that you and I sometimes think like, well, why wouldn't you watch that? But some people that just do not care.
I'll be the first to admit that's kept me a little gun shy on exploring more content pieces to create when it comes down to personality type stuff, as opposed to, and veering away from the actual play. I think of whether it's a small series or just some other really creative things that I would basically help oversee, and I wouldn't actually make myself, because I'm not. That's not my skill set.
Like the Will They Break Up documentary?
Yeah, like the Will They Break Up documentary. Like, I'd love to produce something like that and have it made and put it on my channel. But at the same time, I don't want to roll the dice on a few $1,000s of you know, contracting the right cameramen, the right editing, all that stuff to get it done well, just to have 700 views on it. Like, even if it is phenomenally produced, it might have 700 views and nothing for nothing. Like, financially, that doesn't make sense. I am the first guy to say this through and through. I will hire incredible video content producers and put lots of different stuff on my channel if it was going to get viewed. And there's no way to genuinely predict it. And some of it, a large majority of it, is just too expensive to roll the dice and be like, hey, I want to hire these couple of professionals to come in and make this really cool content that I think a lot of people would think it's really cool, but a lot of people won't even take the chance on it and or go view it. And well, it is what it is. I guess that's anyone that makes any kind of content, you're always rolling some kind of dice. I'm saying I would invest more if the viewership would support it just by viewing it, and I don't think that's the case.
I mean, no putting game. Jomez didn't do that this year. No Simon.
Vlogmas? No, there was
not Vlogmas. That one where he traveled around with the Jomez guys and filmed different weird spots.
Yeah,
he was here with
sure.
None of that. It really feels like that high dollar, as far as cost, creative ones are going by the wayside right now. And you know, the catch with Brian Earhart, that's just two guys throwing a frisbee back and forth with a little bit of intercut stuff. The production requirements of that are so much less expensive than what that other stuff was, where you're traveling and you're setting up, you know, you're renting out places and things like that. So we'll see. Maybe it'll come back. Maybe it's just not ever in the cards for us. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and to just put it in perspective, and this is nothing more than just one brief snapshot. I look at Ben Calloway is part of the Catch series on Jomez on YouTube. Ben Calloway did it, 13,000 views 6 days ago. I did not watch that one as much as I consumed a little bit of the Gannon Burr one, which has 19,000 views. again, you're talking about the lift that is or isn't required, and is it worth the extra effort to produce that content or not? And
that's a great question.
And now let me keep this in perspective. 13,000 views with Ben Calloway on Jomez's channel, who has 446,000 subscribers and 19,000 views on Gannon. And I'm not saying that to diminish it. I'm saying for a channel like mine with 95,000 subscribers, like if you just even remotely use...
You get about 10%.
Yeah, use
8%.
your analytics to that. You're looking at even lesser views, obviously, on other channels. Like, and it's...
Yeah, they're getting 2% of their viewers to watch a video like that. It just shows people went to Jomez for a specific reason. So, and again, I've seen some people say, "Man, I really miss the putting game. Man, I really miss. Is Simon doing that cool thing again?" There was an audience. The question is the audience sufficient enough to justify the expenses?
And then Simon has a video out, for instance, that's 20 minutes long that says playing disc golf with James Conrad and Brian Earhart, which has a question mark. I don't know why, with 122,000 views. And of course, that's lighthearted, low level, low production content. It's one camera,
and it's
one
Simon.
angle of Simon Lizotte as, an MC/moderator. And he brings it entirely. So this isn't like I'm not second guessing anyone's input. I'm just saying, like, it's interesting to see what is valued and or what interest our players or our viewers or people out there. I don't know. Clearly, I don't have. I'd be a millionaire if I knew all the answers and or was making all the right decisions. And I'm not opposed to taking risks, but you have to take some calculated risks. And I love the idea of there's so much content that could be so great. I think that could be out there. But if the disc golf world isn't ready or wanting of it, then I guess it just doesn't get made.
Womp womp.
So, did I see a super chat worked? Tim Courts, thank you. We appreciate you.
$5 for the haircut. And so that's all you get to spend.
I was just going to say that it was about this time last year. I made the comment, hey, should I get my hair cut when I go to Bangkok? And I ended up going in there. It turned out to be a pretty good decision, and $5 will just about cover it. So I may or may not try and get it done before I go there, but thank you so much, Tim, nonetheless.
Sam Martin has a question. I haven't pre-read this, so let's see what happens.
Uh-oh.
Here's a Smashbox question. What player from pre-DGPT, MPO and FPO missed the time, whether current courses or on current viewers, that would be popular or on top cards, or today's viewers missed? So maybe somebody who was pre-DG...
Will Schustrick.
Yeah, he just barely missed out.
I would say he just barely missed.
But he is a known commodity. Is there anyone that is a little less known? Maybe.
I mean, some of the names that you guys will never, outside of us mentioning them in an opener or as a reference in terms of some historical perspective, someone that comes to mind in particular is like Angela Chigfry.
FPO
like
name, yeah.
Phenomenal player, and I'd like to thank one Lauren Lakeberg, who put out 2008's Worlds photos that she took. She's been a professional photographer, happens to be from the Midwest near us. She took a whole bunch of photos she had taken at Worlds in 2008 and then just put a little background music to them and created a slideshow and put them up on her channel. I watched it, looking at all the faces, like, oh my gosh, look at that person, look at this person, so on and so forth. One of which, I believe she was in the final 9, she was at least in the photo, was Angela Chigfry. Phenomenal FPO player.
Yeah, she was.
Short in stature, like would you say shorter maybe even than Paige? Or Paige Shue? Like is similar stature.
It was right about there. I couldn't.
Very small frame, very small.
To me,
stature.
Everybody's short. It's hard to tell.
Anyway, a phenomenal player, but was way ahead of her time because regardless of how good she was, there was not a living to be made in FPO play at that time. But she was definitely one of the best in the world around that time frame. So someone like her just instantly comes to mind right off the top of my head. You want to talk about another one? Look at a Dion Arlen, who we've referenced as being an incredible player, and now has gone on to have wife and kids and do all this other stuff outside of disc golf for many years, and then now coming back in. in terms of, Statmando, of course. So he jumps out. I think of you're at a great list.
I pulled up the 2003 PDGA Disc Golf World Championships.
Oh, the one I cashed in. Good.
I grabbed a year, honestly.
20 years ago. Who did I tie? Scroll down a little.
Oh God, nobody cares.
They care.
You probably know. You tied Yeti, Johnny McRae,
yes,
and Christopher Gibbs.
Yes,
Congratulations,
Yeti and Johnny McRae. That's
but
some good company.
I would say some of the names that maybe people would have missed, or that could have been cashing, or even maybe some mid-level touring pros, would have been someone like Carlo Pelg or Todd Branch, who was
early touring,
a local here who really, I think, always maybe had a chance. He was just good at everything. Chris Herron, who still, he's like 1 or 2 wins shy. Maybe he already has 100 MPO wins. I know he was like getting close, but looking at some of the other names,
Avery has always been good. But I mean, he won Worlds in 2009, and as the tour started in 2016, those weren't his prime touring days. He was then moving into already course design and other things. So someone like him definitely comes to mind as one of those people as well.
Yeah, that would be like, those kind of would be the names that I would think of from about that era, that maybe could have possibly been like your mid-level, your mid-level pros. Maybe even had like a social media presence. I could have seen, for some reason, I could see Todd Branch having like a vlog. They were doing kind of Winnie Crew stuff back then.
Yeah, they were writing a blog.
Yeah, exactly.
A written blog.
So that's a good name.
I mean, Cam Todd clearly, went on to become world champ in 03. He
kind of came back into DGPT. I thought about him, but he came back. He did well at the DDO that year.
But at that time, he was almost pushing 40.
Correct.
So, he had kind of missed out on the time. Shasta's been around and was actually one of the original DGPT, travel hands, and was there for the original DGPT. He's got cards for playing in the Pro Tour as it was starting, but Shasta was never a dominant player. I mean, just cresting 1,000 and then some, clearly beloved, and would have had continues to have a solid following and is enjoying his time in Thailand as we speak. But I don't think his play was dominant enough even at its peak.
No.
As good as he is, he wasn't in threat of MPO lead cards on the regular.
Two overseas players that names keep popping up that I think I would have loved to see. And these two guys are guys that a lot of the young people right now look at, I mean, they might even be too old for that, but they look at and say, like, well, these are some of the original European disc golfers. It's like your Marcus Gallstrom, Jesper Lundmark, wasn't Christian Sandstrom. Yeah, like those three to me are all guys that I think like they would have been your Nicholas Antelas of today, where they were coming and you're like, oh, is this the year he's going to get it? Like they're so close.
Or or a few years ago, it would have been like your Seppos, would have rivaled what Seppo was doing, back in 2011 or 12 or 13. So yeah. It is funny to look at some of these names as we...
I scroll down more towards the bottom. I recognize these guys. I played with them.
Recognize a few of those names. Very, very cool to see. Devin Owens was, funny enough, was a name that came to mind as well. He was like, he had a tour card. He was on the tour in 2016, maybe even 2017 as well, I think. One of the best lefties in the game. And then, hurt his leg. Broke his leg or his ankle or his leg or knee for a while. And then, that was kind of the start of the finish of Devin's hardcore playing career. Someone, Nolan Grider would be actually a great name. He's out of Texas, to this day, a solid player, and was definitely a superstar, but wasn't quite around as the tour progressed. 10 years, it was kind of 10 years past his original prime, but man, it would have been great to see him out there. And we could go on. I could probably pick apart somebody from just about every state and think about like what it would have looked like having them move into modern day era of golf would be incredible. James Snappy Cole, Snappy's been out on the tour.
I've got a Snappy card. He was on the first year of the tour.
Brinster is a great name, but Brinster, Brinster won USDGC in like 2013, 2014. And then the tour was in 2016 in his backyard, so to speak, in Maple Hill area. It's not quite his backyard, but you know what I mean, in that, Northeast region. And he just never could really take to touring full time.
Not with the twins.
Not with the twins, and prior to that, really having a job that didn't allow him to really full time tour.
Coda's a good name. Coda Hatfield.
Yeah, certainly. Jason, good to see you. Jason posting recently celebrating his sobriety of many, many years. I forget how many. Was it 10 or 20 or whatever it's been, Jason? Congrats to you, my friend.
Well done.
Love it. Steve Rico, I just talked to Steve yesterday. He tells me.
Oh, geez.
You want to guess what he told me yesterday? Besides, I love you and happy birthday. He told me I love you, and I said happy birthday. And then, any guesses what he might have said about 2024?
Oh God, yes. This is the year that he's going to work less and golf a little bit more, and maybe play a DGBT event or two, but really try to hit that Masters tour. And that's not going to happen. And he's gonna work just as hard as he always does, unfortunately. And it'll come close to when he's thinking about it, and he'll just be like, "No, bro, I couldn't get away from the warehouse, and there's just so much work to do, and it's just a grind, man. I just got to keep it up."
Yeah, it's about 90% right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I love Steve,
and I hope we're both wrong in picking on him. Steve, he said, he would love to get out there. He'd love to play some more this year. He said, even when I can't get to some of these events to play, I want to come hang out, be part of the scene. His good friend Jay Ray is obviously out on tour, working his ass off as well. So I hope that we see more Steve Rico out on the course or after the course is done.
I truly believe.
I hope we'll see you out there more, Steve.
Even at age 45, Stevie could go to a course. I would say it'd have to be the right course and compete in a DGBT event.
100%.
Like I think he would have a little bit harder time on some of these like OTB, maybe some of the longer courses. I just don't think Steve can keep up. He doesn't quite have that distance that these young guys do. But we saw at DDO, he played decent enough a couple years ago. He was on. He made a little bit of coverage. You get him to a Waco, and I don't know what the new course is like. It might be insane long. Maple Hill, I think he could compete. He could compete on Ledgestone Black, I think, because he can keep it in the lines. Mm-hmm. I truly think Stevie could still compete in certain spots. It's just maybe a little bit more unfortunate, as we said, that so many of our courses now are favoring so much distance that I think there are some courses he's just not going to be able to hold a candle to half these young kids that can outthrow him by 50 to 100 feet.
Yeah. Well, it would be exciting to see him, and we'll see if he dabbles in some. I know he wants to go after some Masters age titles, like you just said. He certainly can be competitive in any given MPO event.
Yeah, go win a Masters Worlds, buddy.
But yeah, I'd love to see him at Masters Worlds again, and a few of the other Masters majors, and hoping, just like you said, he can actually break away from some of the work. I know it's incredibly difficult to do as he's over there holding down legacy. Tommy Hawk said Nate Doss, didn't he stop early? Yeah, I mean, Nate, some of you may or may not remember.
He won a Pro Tour event.
2017, he took down
GMC.
The GMC, and a great battle with a completely stacked field of incredible modern day superstars, and Nate Doss took it down. I think so many people, because they're somewhat newer to the game.
COVID players.
Not just COVID players,
but that era.
But just weren't around in Nate's heyday. And I think so many people either have no idea or completely forget he won 3 world titles.
Well, I think they know.
There's literally only a couple of people that have more world titles than he does. in the MPO division.
I'm such an old man, get off my yard kind of person. I think people realize that. People know.
I don't think they do.
I think they do. I think
they literally don't know.
I think they literally do know. And I think they look at it and they say, different era, not as good players. And they devalue that. I think people do know that when they see Nate Doss on coverage, commentating what he is. He's a world champion. He's a 3-time world champion. I think, you mention it almost every day.
I know, and I still think people genuinely don't know.
And I think people do know, but I do think that there's a level of, I don't say disrespect, but devaluing of players who were good back then because they're like,
decade.
Yeah, it is like, the competition wasn't as good. I'll say this. The competition was pretty damn good. And it might not have been as deep, but that top level of player, and it was good. Those guys were good, and Nate Doss was really good. He still is really good, probably. I think you give that guy a month, and he gets really good again. He's just got that competitor in him, and it's kind of ingrained. But he's another one where I know he can throw pretty far, but I still think that those long courses probably don't favor him nearly as much as some of the young guys who can just literally just throw a power hyzer 500 feet. Mm-hmm. Like Doss, I think, could probably get one out 450, maybe even 500 on a really good shot. But that's a full flex shot these days for him, as opposed to like, hey, I'm going to be Eagle McMahon and just power hyzer this 500-foot shot over these 300-foot trees. Let's go. It's a different game.
Glenn says, Nate Doss might play an event in the future if the stars align correctly. I would put that as now a fair statement in the conversations I've had with him. Rewinding a year ago, I would say I'd bet you, a flight of beers, so to speak, that you won't see that. I think he's had the itch as of lately to at least entertain the idea of throwing again, but I don't know how much it's going to become a reality or very practical. But he's at least had that urge, or that itch has resurfaced, and to me, that's in a weird small sense. Even that is a little bit inspiring.
That's cool
and exciting to see. I mean, he certainly misses the competitive nature of the game. I would venture to guess anyone that's been as successful as someone like him, or someone who's won 3 world titles, like, you still had to have a competitive drive or itch or nature within you that has to burn. Even if it's just the tiniest of embers, it still burns somewhere.
Yeah.
If you were at one point.
He just needs to stop dousing it with beer
3 times. I mean, he did make some good beers. So.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He makes some good beers. It's hard to, let that flame when you can go and be like, oh, this is really good. I'm going to make more of this. I don't know. I really do hope that we get to see, like, and who knows how he would play. It'd be very difficult for him to come off the couch and play, but I would love to see him give 1 or 2 or maybe a mini tour, 3 to 4 events, just to see how it would come. Even if he took 30th place.
Maybe we should see if he wants to. Maybe he should go play in the Memorial. That'd be a good one to just magically return to.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, okay. How's the Doss baby doing? Luca is doing just fine. From everything that I've seen, some of the Christmas pictures and great family pictures they posted, looks like he's doing quite well. Ryan Pilcher says, if Doss came out and made the lead card in a DGPT event and played well, I think those go hand in hand, I think some of the people who don't like his commentary would appreciate it more. I think that's probably a fair statement too. I like you were kind of saying, there's to some degree a dismissive, and I get it, everyone has their preferences, of course, that's we all know that, of all of us, they have your preferences, but I think some people are dismissive of anything Doss says because they feel like he's not a current fixture in the game. And so, to your point exactly, Ryan, I think if he came out, not that he should have to do this, but if he came out and got himself onto a lead card at a Pro Tour event, I think some people would be like, oh, shit. He is good. He does know what he's talking about. He does have a clue. Yeah. I think some of that naysaying, I agree with you, would be squashed. And it sounds silly that
I've said
would
it before,
have to come to that, but I think it would be.
That if Doss ever does decide to play another Pro Tour event, I think I make the call to Mo and be like, dude, you have to put him on some sort of feature card first round, which would be some even if interesting pressure. Even if it wasn't like the first card live, if he was on like the second feature card, The the one that's covered mostly in post-production.
Sure.
That just because that gives that's a little less pressure in that, great, the cameras aren't always on me. They're maybe just going to show my good shots, but still lets people kind of like, oh, this is Nate. This is how he throws. This is, whatever that is. Because you're right, putting him on like the number one lead feature card might not be. I mean, it could be great. He's a champion. He could just be like, cool, I'm going to grin down and bear it, and I'm going to fight through this, and I'm going to show you how I still shoot 1,030 rated round. That very well could happen.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Ray says DGPT All-Star event. Yeah, I don't know if there'd have to be some kind of a exemption or something that would have to get there.
I don't know. It seems like they're just letting anyone in that All-Star event, because the way the All-Star event is working now is that you only to play the golf do you have to have been voted in. The field events, they are allowing in other people. Did you not know that?
I did not.
Yeah. So more or less, as Mo had said, why wouldn't you want to see Ella Hansen versus Ellie Ezra in a distance competition, even though Ellie didn't make the All-Stars? So they're more or less saying, and I believe and I don't know the numbers, they are going to give some sort of compensation to players who do decide to come early. So if, let's just say, we'll say Parker Welk. Parker Welk, you're a really good putter. Let's get you out here for the putting competition. And so they are going to allow it to people other than the All-Stars.
Interesting.
Which is, it is interesting, because I was thinking, what other sport brings in people who aren't All-Stars to compete in the All-Star events? The only one that I could really think of, and I'm not super varied in a lot of sports, the slam dunk contest. They bring in people who didn't necessarily make the actual All-Star team. It's more or less, I think you can get in on the dunk contest. So that maybe, if you want to consider the long drive, the accuracy, the putting, whatever else they decide to do, more along the lines of a dunk contest, then I can kind of get it. I don't necessarily love the idea. I will have to see it in action.
Yeah, it's going to muddy things up and make things a little bit more confusing from a media perspective.
Yeah. On one hand, I kind of think, well, that's what we have Worlds for. You've got the putting, you've got the long drive competitions, you've got the edge, you've got, whatever else is out there. But the problem with the Worlds ones are that there's no set time. Yeah. You're not getting the 6 best players there to do it in a half-hour period. Instead, it's like, oh, guess what? Ella's going to show up at 10:30 a.m. Eliezer is going to show up at 2, and Paige Pierce is going to be there at 4. And the win could be totally different for all of them. It could just be, when they make it to wherever they're making it. So they are expanding the All-Star event to include people who maybe who didn't get voted into the All-Star event.
Well, that will be new in my...
I hope that was public information.
Well, it is now. Smashbox exclusive.
Sorry if it wasn't DGPT, but I think it was.
That will be hopefully run down to me as well, as I think I'm host of that show come All-Star Weekend when I return from Asia. So let's quickly sidetrack. I'm going to borrow this one from the internets, the Facebooks. Someone had said that they don't think the caddy bibs are a good look for disc golf. I'll use their phrasing. Dudes are out there looking like they're going to wrangle some loose shopping carts in the parking lot later, meaning the caddy bibs. Now,
I think there's an argument for style, maybe. If you don't like the style of the caddy bib, I don't have a problem with the caddy bib particularly. I kind of like it. I like that there's a designated person and they've got your name on it. Do we want them wearing a full white outfit like golf, like pants and shirt, like zip up and that's your caddy? I mean,
we see on the PGA or Live Tour, however it's referred to, I don't even know anymore.
PGA, they're still separate technically.
Okay. They're distinctive by wearing a bib there, right?
They wear usually full white outfit with a bib.
No, not all of them.
I think.
No.
No. Maybe I'm wrong.
They just have to wear the bib, right? The caddies don't wear the full things, do they? Anyway.
Okay, maybe not.
Yeah, I think obviously that's an option. Is the full?
Yeah,
the
I think
attire.
I think a lot of them do, but maybe you're right. Maybe not necessarily all of them.
But designated by the bib.
And maybe if you wear the white suit, you don't have to wear the bib.
That would make sense. Shows what we know.
Searching through images of caddy, PGA caddies.
Yeah, okay. So Sam says JVD only at the Masters do they wear the white. They never wear all white outside of the Masters.
Okay, it's just the Masters. And to be fair, that's mostly what I watch is the Masters.
Yeah, so, and a very prominent caddy and all around, superstar that's been around that knows what she's talking about, chimed in with some great perspective. And I'm talking about Johnny McRae's wife. She specifically said, "I don't like them. I like to match my player. I will not wear one unless my hand is forced to," which I also don't agree with, to be honest. Which I also disagree with, to be honest. And there's a lot of really great points that were made within this thread, talking about whether it's the just the overall aesthetic of them. Some were talking a little bit about the quality of what they may be or what they're made out of, like you kind of said, in terms of an overall design potentially. Lots of great points made about it, which I don't disagree with. And to be fair, I agree with especially with the idea of like, you have a really, really sharp or unique or snazzy, whatever term you want to use, looking shirt that Johnny McRae is wearing, and then his wife is wearing a matching or a congruent, similar style and or exactly matching shirt. Like, I love that perspective. I love it. Germ and his wife Jules, great. If Joel Freeman and his wife want to match, or if they're just relatively similar, that's great too. I'm fine with that. And I think that looks great, and I've got no problem with that. So I can understand where somebody says, hey, this bib, whatever color, shape, or design it is, it kind of F's with my flow of what we're trying to accomplish here as a team. I can totally understand that. I understand that perspective.
But most of the bibs, you can still see the shirt that's under it.
To some, yeah.
In my opinion, you have to designate some way, I think. But other than just like a little lanyard. Well, it's so hard to see if you're an official and suddenly there's 4 people when there should only be 3 following a card or something that are inside the ropes. It's very easy to spot the person who's not. Now, granted, we have other things like you just scores and this and that, whatever. But or whoever. I think a bib is some sort of bib or overshirt or something is a good plan, personally.
Yeah, and I came at it, I've watched a lot of this discourse take place, and then I came in with a perspective saying, first of all, I agree with everything, or I understand what you guys are saying. I can understand some aesthetics and some other things, or just flat out like they're uncomfortable or you don't like them or whatever. And then I just said, basically reworded what you said. We need this distinction largely because players' entourages continued to grow. And although that wasn't a big concern for a little while, you get a really popular player. I'll just make up a name like Ricky Wysocki, very popular. He's on the lead card, and now his friend group has grown from 2 to 4 to now 9 people, or just his family. He has a large family. And now all of a sudden you have 13 people in the fairway following Ricky, just Ricky. And there's 3 other players that could have anywhere from 1 or 0 to 13 players themselves. We have grown to a point on the tour and at our biggest events where those potential 52 people, 13 each, 52 extra people hanging out on a fairway now are blocking other paid spectators, and they're more importantly maybe blocking camera angles, camera people, and other media, including your live scoring, including your marshal who's following the card that needs to make a rules call but might be 3 deep or is getting buried behind a bunch of these players' entourages. We always say entourage. And again, that ended up usually being a girlfriend or a boyfriend, plus another friend or 2, somebody who just missed cash an hour ago who then is joining you, somebody who just wants a front row seat, which we still have a problem with in terms of a player who's done but really likes somebody on the lead card and just thinks, well, I'm just going to go join them. That's still sometimes a problem today. So the bib largely is to be, as you said, that distinguishing item so that you could say, hey, you're the one person or 2, you're the 1 or 2 people that are in fact allowed to be here and to be this close to the player and to the action and to the media and to the scorekeeper and to the leaderboard person. Like, you're distinguished, and the bib does just that. Now, we've also seen and had that discussion about, well, Brittany Dickerson wears the bib but isn't specifically carrying the bag. That's I think why they distinguish it as a support person.
Correct.
And maybe
because you might just want someone to do live scoring or whatever.
Or she's just walking along and she's carrying a towel, or she's there for whatever other measure or reason. She's his caddy / support person. Maybe it's your manager.
Yeah, I have zero
it
problem
anyone.
with that. I have zero.
So
problem
I
with
just
that.
and the funny part was, after this great discourse, I thought was very legitimate on this page. This is on Dixon Jower's page, by the way. Someone said, I laid all that out, and someone said, "Yeah, but was that a problem? Like ever?" I said, "Yes, it absolutely was. I didn't just make that up.
Yeah,
as a scenario. We've seen our sport grow. Dare I call it a growing pain? We've seen exactly that. We used to not have media and scorekeepers and live leaderboards and all these other things, and have to worry about anywhere from 500 to 5,000 paying fans that were out there as well. We used to not have spectator ropes. It was a free-for-all. We're kind of growing up in that sense. Now, if you think there's some other better distinguishing way to determine who that person is, that one allowed support person is, I think people
clown hair.
I think people would entertain.
You have to wear a clown wig, like Bozo the Clown, like a big red.
One gets a wig and one gets the nose. You could have two if the other person's willing to wear the nose.
No, the person has to wear both. I mean,
what about shoes? Clown shoes?
Yes.
Could you get an extra? How can you earn an extra person?
Oh gosh. The player has to wear the clown shoes.
Oh, the player.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you wear the clown shoes, you get an extra support person. I mean, think of how difficult the next step is with those clown shoes.
Yeah. I mean, the forehanders clearly have the advantage.
Oh yeah, hands down. I mean,
anyone standing
if you
still.
do that. No, I do think that. Yeah,
Anyway.
I can see arguments with the style of the bib. Sure, maybe make the shoulders a little narrower. Maybe make it a different color scheme. I don't know. If someone like Jenny McRae wants to match their caddy, awesome. That's cool. I love that concept. And something like that could help out with that, or find a way to, I don't know, find a way to adjust it. But
Mike Thomas on the board says pageant sash, a hat, or a cummerbund belt.
Now hear me out. Daisy Dukes.
Daisy Dukes, bibs. Nonetheless, I
backwards pants like
crisscross.
Crisscross.
Warm it up, Chris.
I'm about to.
Warm it up, Chris.
That's what I was born to do.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to be very clear. I thought it was a fair question. I thought there were some great responses. I thought there was even, dare I say it, some additional like level-headed discourse that happened after the fact. Like, I don't know. It's like almost the internet worked the way it should for a moment within that thread. But yeah, I would say if you have another clever idea for a 100% distinguishable way. Now, this wouldn't have been a problem if we didn't have these entourages. Like, let's just be very clear. Like, that is largely what ruined it, is friends, and I'm saying any player, any potential player. Zach Melton, I'll just make up another name. Zach Melton gets on a lead card. You might have had at one point, or could today have, Kelvin and Macy
Dickerson,
and Jamie and Dickerson's. Like in the right scenario, it could his entourage, any player's entourage could go from 2 to 20 real quick, and you just can't have an entire card of that happening. And that's what used to happen. I think so explicitly of USDGC, which was one of the first places I feel like we saw this started to be policed more, because they already had the spectator ropes in place, and they made a real concerted effort, maybe even Pro Tour start. So anyway, throwing that out there. Yeah, beer hat. There you go. That'd be another good way to do it.
I mean, it can't have beer in it, because the caddy's an extension of the player.
But,
so,
I know, but a beer hat.
But a beer hat, that would work out.
Yes, in the other news, Carolina Chain Banger wrote out there that Kristen Tatar has a tour manager. She made an announcement on her Instagram and her Facebook, I think, saying that this is a really big step in her career, and she feels like it's a good one in the right direction.
It's going to let her focus. It's someone that she's known for a while. It's going to let her focus more on golf and worry less about some of the external day-to-day stuff that she was thinking about before.
Yeah, I mean, you saw how unfocused she was this year.
Oh my God!
She didn't even win every event.
Yeah,
was she even there?
Yeah,
That's why I didn't vote for her to win.
Ouch! Whoa! Oh wow! Oh, that went far, Terry. Easy. You're gonna light the internet on fire suddenly. I mean, if you can't even win, throw pink.
I mean,
what's the point?
What are you doing?
Yes. Yep.
Anyway, all right.
Patreon.com/SmashboxTV is the way you can support Terry and I in 2024. We need your support. We are out here begging.
We need tour managers. We need caddy bibs.
We need caddy. Yes, if we get to 200 patrons, Terry and I wear caddy bibs for like a couple episodes probably.
So
yes.
we can see who deserves to be here and who doesn't.
That's right.
So we can distinguish who's appropriately here.
One of us has to wear it. The other has to wear the clown hair.
Sweet.
More so than your current one, Terry.
Yes.
You have to take off that toupee and put on the clown hair. But yes, patreon.com/SmashboxTV. Support independent creators. There was someone on our board earlier that was like, oh, you're starting an hour earlier now. I watched this other comedy podcast. Don't worry, though. You get my Patreon dollars. And I had said, I'm happy if you give your Patreon support to any independent creators. But obviously, if you give it to us,
we like you more.
We like you more. Then you're in our heart. And that's how it works. So once again, patreon.com/SmashboxTV. We have 135 people eligible for our giveaway tonight, Terry Miller. I pulled in all the extra names. I sorted it by first name. How exactly do you want to do this?
I think we pulled the first podcast of the year, getting in after the action, and I say the very first name we pull is our winner.
Very first name. Let's generate a number between 1 and 135. It's number 16.
Oh, that's going to be a Brian.
Number 16. You think it's like a
B? It's going to be a B word.
You think it's a B? Well, let's see.
I think it's a B word.
16 is actually a B. It's a Brian. It's Brian
Damn!
Brian Frawley. Good job.
What a guess.
15 was Brian Millman. 17 was Brooks. So you nailed Brian Frawley. Congratulations, Brian. You are a relatively new Patreon supporter. It looks like
he is.
You've only been here for maybe a couple months. So congratulations, Brian. I will get your email to Terry Miller as well as your address you have on here.
I just spoke with Brian the other day, actually. What? Yes. Fine
this is
gentleman
not rigged.
Over there. Yeah, I know. Sounds like it would be, but just all-around superstar. Brian over at Great Lakes Disc, and we've been seeing him post a ton on Twitter lately.
Yeah.
He's single-handedly just keeping disc golf Twitter alive and rolling day in and day out. So Brian also had supported. I think I'm waiting on the check though, so maybe he didn't. No, they were supporting. I put out an Andrew Marweed exclusive. Andrew Marweed's highest rated round of the year we captured at the beginning of the year, and I cut it all down, just like you called for last week, Johnny.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
I'm just doing what you say here.
You should.
Clown, nose and all.
Innova listened to me.
Yep.
Lifted up Bradley. I can end my campaign for that.
Yep. Now you're listening
me to cut
me out. Yep. Solo rounds. I did that.
I mean, Bozo Hair's coming next.
Exactly. So yes, thank you to Brian along with the crew over at Great Lakes Disc who helped then support the Andrew Marweed solo action. I think I'm going to still try and get out some MP40 action from the Memorial. We had bonus coverage from that, and that I think that's ready to get out there as well. So look for that to get released here before I head to overseas. All right. Is there anything else we need to know about?
I literally just thought of something, and now it's
Patreon giveaway is scripted. No, he just said 16. He said it was by first name. I thought of a B word.
Yeah.
That was a first name.
Nailed it.
I mean, and apparently we had two Brians, you said.
Yeah, there's two. There's Brian Millman and not here. Watch this. I'm going to hide all this crap.
There we go.
Hide.
Are you going to prove them?
Hide columns. There we go. Here. Yep, I will. Look at that. And I'll bring it up. There's number 16, Brian Foley. These are sorted by first name. Technically, Eli Bowman put a hashtag in front of his name, so he gets number 1. I mean, that's what can I do?
Might have to disqualify him for that.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help him in anything other than the ordering of the names.
In this case, yes.
So, right. That's. I wish it was scripted. That'd make my day easier because usually, right when the after show starts, I think, oh crap, I need to download all the names. And while Terry's filling, I'm over here like pulling in the names, importing them, getting everything prepped for the show. It'd be way easier if this was scripted.
Yeah. Next time we'll cheat. Makes it easier.
Yeah.
I'll ask for a recount or something. Okay. Well, I think we can call it. I think that's about all of the action here tonight. Oh, I know Brian, I'm not going to reach out to him. Brian will be watching this at the shop tomorrow morning.
Oh, good for him.
And so, when Great Lakes...
Shout out to everyone at the shop.
When Great Lakes disc opens on Wednesday morning, hopefully there's millions of people in there shopping, picking up some great products over there in Michigan. And Brian... forever number one in our hearts till next week.
Yeah, until next week when we give our discs to somebody else and love them.
It seems like he's already coming out ahead by...
It's close. It's close.
Damn. All right. This has been podcast 487's After Show for Lykke and Bradley Williams. Thank you guys for joining us in the regular show. Anytime we've got some news or announcements or if any other new or re-signed sponsored players want to come on the show and talk about what's happening, we'd love to provide a platform for you to chit-chat and us to ask you some questions about it. So just keep that in mind. Or maybe you know a local pro or someone that has just signed and you say, hey, you should share your story with the world. Have them reach out or you reach out to us and we'll see if we can make it happen. So thank you guys for joining us. That's our first after show of 2024. We're going to be here next week for all the action coming into you on January 9th. For Johnny V, I'm Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. That's 487's After Show. We'll see you next week. You step inside the Smash Box.
Lykke!